All right. Oh, for the umpteenth time, we are about to record. And I'm going to get my screen capture working before we start. The volume is now working, finally. I just had to restart the computer. Check 1, 2. And we'll see how this works. Hopefully it will work. Not sure. Having issues with the screen recorder now, so this has been one more headache, guys. I'm telling you. A tough one. Check 1, 2. Please work. Eyes are drying out. Okay, here we go. Getting ready to record. All right. I'm going to start from the front, from the beginning. Hopefully this is going to work this time. This is my third attempt and hopefully final attempt at getting this Hangout to work. Man, I'm telling you, Google Hangouts really need to get their act together. It's time for somebody else to step up and give them some competition, because this is ridiculous having to do all this. But anyway, my event is now working. I'm going to push play and see if the audio is working here. And then we can get started. This is my third. Oh yes. Oh yes. That sound. Do you hear that? That sounds awesome. Okay. So here's what's going to happen. I am actually recording this on Hangouts and as a screen capture for a backup. Okay, just in case this messes up again. Let's get started. There is no possible way that I can even repeat what I did on the last Hangout, which was 2 hours long. Okay. And my brain is just racked to even think about trying to do that. It is almost 9 o'clock at night here, and I've decided let's just get it done, get it working again. So now we are going to go ahead and get this working. Okay. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to go back and let everybody know where this new Reboot Hangout is. And I'm going to do that real quick. All right, so now all the cleanup hopefully is done. I will edit the image later and we can get on into this. Okay, so first of all, thanks so much for everybody attending. I really apologize for the last fiasco. Apparently Google Hangouts did something to my audio and it made me sound like a chipmunk. So I don't know what was going on there. But I've got this screen recording as well as it sounds like it's working in Google Hangouts. So hopefully it's going to be all right. Now, what we're going to talk about today is this was supposed to be my launch for my blog. And since Hangouts failed on me epically, I'm going to have to go over some of that again. So first of all, if you want to do any comments, if you're watching this on YouTube or if you're watching this on the blog post, which is now released, if you're watching this live, there's some links on the side that you'll be able to go to. One of them is the link to this article that I'll be referring to time and time again that I wrote based on these goals. And that is ericbeatty.com/goals-2014. So first of all, if you want to, kind of chat with me, I'm on Twitter right now. If you'll just go to twitter.com/theericbeatty. You can look me up, and if you have any questions or anything, you can look me up right there, and I'll be there on Twitter. I'll be monitoring this, and it will notify me if anybody mentions me or if anybody says anything. All right, so I'm watching that right now, and we're just getting started. And so then I'll know who all's interacting. Also, if you're watching this live, you can go to there's a questions and answers app at the top of the video that you can ask questions about, and I'll be monitoring those as well. So I'm not going to be chatting on Google Hangouts. I'll be chatting via Twitter. That's what I'm monitoring, and I'll be answering questions via the questions app. So let's get started. The big reveal is supposed to be ericbeatty.com. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of do a rundown of the article that I'm going to be going over, and then I'm going to do a rundown of the new blog, the new site, what it's going to be about, why I decided to start it, things like that. I'd like to get that out of the way as quick as possible so we can discuss all about the goals that I have, that I've been talking about, that I've been really anxious and excited about, and hopefully I can get pumped up again about while doing this recording. Now, first things first, I had another light on, so let me go ahead and turn that on real quick, and I'll be right back. It is nighttime here, so there, much better. You can see all the brilliant colors here in my orange shirt. So let's screen share with you guys the new blog, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. Let me figure out which one this is. Let me go ahead and find the thing I need to do first. All right. You have to pardon my eyes. I've got some bad drying. They've been drying out on me. My contacts have. So this should be working. Okay. Now let's go back to screen sharing with you guys, and we'll see what's going on here. All right. Should be right here. Share that screen. You guys should be seeing my screen. All right, here we go. Good deal. Now, here's what's going on. Here is the new website. Like I said, I'm going to go over this, what it's about, and all the navigations and everything. But the article that I'm going to be referring to time and time again is this one right here, ericbeatty.com/goals2014. Okay. The name of this is 5 Proven Tips I've Learned for Effective Goal Setting in 2014. All right. And this was released today. Today's December 4th, albeit almost 9 o'clock. I think this is the latest Hangout I've ever had that I can recall. I may have had another one before that, but not sure. But anyway, this is a late Hangout, and hopefully more people can join and kind of watch. So here's the deal. This article is, we're going to go over the article, the goals that I have in front of me, and it's going to be referring to this article, okay? I wrote this and posted it a couple of weeks ago and went ahead and published it as today. This is the video that we're recording right now live. So if I push play, it should pull up this new Hangout, okay? Brand new one. And I'm not understanding why there's no audio there. This better work, people. Come on. Now, let's see. Let's see something else here. Let me make sure we're on the right thing, first of all. You guys can still see my screen. I realize that. Just want to make sure that everybody's getting the right and correct feed here. And I'm not understanding why there's no audio. Okay, so the audio is working. So I must apparently have created the wrong link. Let me go back and double check that link. Let me stop screen sharing real quick. I'm going to go back and fix that really quick. Yeah, this is the one I'm looking for. I may have not, oh, I bet I didn't update it. That's probably why. I went ahead and inserted it, but I didn't update it with the new feed. So that should work now if I do that. Just be patient with me, guys. Sorry about this. This is what happens when you have to redo something. Okay, so that should be working now. Let's make sure it is. Big moment. Please work.
Being patient with you guys. Sorry about that.
Good deal. All right, that's what it was. I didn't update it. Okay, so let's get back to screen sharing here and go over this one more time. All right, so we have the screen. Now, once again, 15 tips I learned for effective goal setting. When you come here, the video you're watching now is available here, and it's going to stay there. It's going to be kind of like a companion video to this article, okay? And we're happening right now. It's live. So if I push play, bingo, you can hear it. And it's an invitation also to watch the first goal video I set up based on the goals we're going to be talking about today and the goals that I'm talking about here in this article. Now, if you'll notice right here, this was in January when I first began working on my goals. Okay, I talked about that in this video. It's 39 minutes long. But the cool thing is when you watch this later, as soon as you click play, you can't see it here, but as soon as you click play, there's just a little wheel that comes up. And a lot of my subscribers know this. I harp on this a lot. I talk about this a lot. And once this is live, it will be available too. Since it's streaming, it's not available. But once you push play on a video nowadays on YouTube, you see this little settings, this little gear, cog, wheel, whatever you want to call it. Click on that and speed up the video, and here's what you get.
We're going to talk about being a guitar believer in 2014, okay?
Okay, check that out. Sped it up twice as fast. I do this with all my videos that I watch that has to do with just dialogue and talking. So any kind of podcast thing, interview videos, videos like this where it's just talking, I will speed it up to get through it quicker. So you can get through this video in half the time. So it's like a 20-minute video when you do that. Now, obviously for music, I don't do that, but I do that for videos like we're doing today. So this article we're going to be talking about has to deal with the tips that I'm going to talk about on these goals I'm about to share with you. Please do, when you read this article, go to the very bottom and you'll find that there's a place, it'll ask you a question. What kind of strategies using goal settings have you used this year? Have they worked? Leave a comment below, tell us all about it. And if you go past the related section in the sharing section, here's where you can comment and be notified if you want to by email of any follow-up comments or of new posts, okay? So anytime I make a new blog post, it'll email it directly to you. All right, so also, please, if you find this content, valuable, like it says here, please share this. Use the share buttons here and share it with other people so that other people can benefit with it. Also, nobody really ever says this, but be sure and add this page to your favorites or bookmark for future reference so you can always come back to this. Maybe next year, this time, well, right now it's December 4th. Maybe in January, you'll need a refresher course. So you'll want to bookmark that so you can come back to it later. Or every year, you may want to come back and view this article and view this video. Who knows? So add it to your bookmarks, a place where you'll be able to easily locate it again. So this is all going to be about the goals that I'm talking about. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the tips, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the goals related to these tips that I'm talking about that we'll be going over, and I'll talk about the little quote sections. I'm not going to read all this. You can read it for yourself, and I'm not going to hit some of the things that are listed here more than likely. So make sure to come back to this article and read this article and share it with your friends so you can get the full benefit of it, okay? Now, that's it for the article, okay? I'm going to be referring to that time and time again. What's going to happen here is when you get down to the tip number 2, you're going to see all these images, these pictures of the goals. So you can actually look at these, click on it, and it will show you the image, okay? Then you can zoom in and kind of see what's going on, zoom out, and you can even right-click. It may not show up, it didn't earlier, but you can right-click this, and it will give you an option to save this as an image, okay? So you can save it as an image. And sometimes you can actually take and hold, click and hold, and then drag it to your desktop, and it will save it like that. What I want you to keep in mind is if we go back here, this is kind of like an evolution of my goals, okay, over the 2014. I started out with the original goals that I made. Then I went back every quarter, one in April, one in July, and that was these two. I went back and updated those, and these are color-coded. You can see the darker blue, the lighter blue, and it even says updated right here. And then I went back in October, the last quarter of the year, and updated those in green ink. And I actually used the back of this page to finish that up, and then that's also updated over here. So you can see all these updates. And I'll show later, you might have seen it below, but there's a new template that I came up with so that you could work on this, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and get on into that. So that's it for the goals. Now, what I want to get into real quick is the new blog. Now, this blog is about writing, about life, learning, and self-discovery, okay? Now, later on, this may be replaced with another image or something. This is just what I started with and decided to start out with. But this is a blog about where I write about life, okay? Now, YouTube is going to be for my guitar stuff. I've got YouTube for that. I've got, Facebook and all these other things for different social things, and you can find those over here. There's all the navigation things I'm going to go over. But this blog is mainly going to be my place to write about things that interest me and that I believe will other people will find valuable as well. And I'll go into that here in just a little bit. But first of all, for a little bit of the navigation, right here's my sharing options. You can actually search the blog using this right here, this icon. And at the very top, you'll be able to, this is just a random email it gives me. Subscribe to my blog via email. Now, this is going to be if you want to receive notifications of any posts that I make, anything related to this blog and this website. Now, I'm planning on creating another separate email mailing list for this. I've got my eye on another email list company that I'm thinking about doing business with, and that may happen pretty soon. When that does, I'll probably update this to reflect that. But right now, it's just WordPress's just standard default email list. Okay, so then you can subscribe to that if you want to, and you can come down here and subscribe via the RSS feed. Here it shows you the recent posts that I have. I launched this today, but I have actually been working since September on these articles, and there's more than just this. These are just the five most recent. So I've been working on this quite a bit. You got some archives here of what I've done, what I've produced when. There's another search feature here. It also has all these categories that I've added. And what I was going to go over here is, obviously articles are, articles. I may actually delete that. I'm not sure. Books is going to be like reviews. Entrepreneurial is obviously self-explanatory. General is if I keep finding the category for it. Goals. This post right here is going to be goals related. Guitar related would be like I have a post on here which is actually shown right here. My Ibanez guitar, the one you see right here, this blue one. I've had it for a year since this past October, and I actually did a 1-year anniversary review. So that would obviously be guitar related. Inspirational, motivational, just some different things that would inspire and motivate people. I'll get back to this one in just a second. Life management and productivity. Some tips I found on productivity hacks, or trying to manage your time, manage your life. Views and reviews are like anything I have a review on, like the Thompson Chain Thumb Index Bible. That might be a review on that Bible, or other things that I have reviews on. And then obviously writing would be just anything to do with maybe fiction, or maybe just me just writing to be writing. The one I was going to go over here is the journal entry. I have a ton of journal content that I'm going to plan on adding to this blog as content, and that is going to be added, and it's going to be listed as a journal entry. That's what the category is going to be. So anything you see as a journal entry is not me just typing up a random journal entry. It's going to be coming from one of my, more than likely, my business journals, or any other journals like that I've been writing in for the sake of writing fiction or whatever. I've got 3 business journals, 2.5 really. I'm working on another one. It's more of a whatever kind of journal, but I use it for some business things too. So anything that I have written down in a notebook form will be categorized as a journal entry when it's uploaded. So that's how you navigate, and we have the My Links section. Now, my main 2 sites are Bluegrass Guitar Essentials and Secrets of Texas Blues Guitar, but I don't want this blog to be all about that. I want it to be about the interest that I'll get into here in just a little bit. If you want to learn that other stuff, if you want to see that other stuff, they're kind of here on the side if you want to. All the different ways you can reach me and find me online, starting with my main 2 websites. That's what those sites are dedicated for. I'm not going to be talking a lot about that and promoting a lot of that here on ericbeatty.com. New products, yes, maybe, so that I don't have to have like 50 different websites if I have 50 different ebooks or products or anything like that. But for the most part, this site is going to be about, sharing with others things I've learned about life, learning, and self-discovery, just like it says right here. Okay, so there's my links. You can follow me on YouTube. You can hang out with me on Google+, follow me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter. That's what I basically connect with. I don't use Pinterest. I don't use, Tumblr. I don't use a lot of the other Instagram. I don't use a lot of those. It's just not me. I've got what I've got, and I've established what I've got, and I don't feel like branching out any further. Okay. Past that, here's some books. I'm an avid reader. I read a lot of books, and here's some books that I have read, reviewed, and like. And so this is from Goodreads. So you can click on these and go straight to Goodreads. I plan on being more involved in Goodreads probably down the road as I'm continuing to get my writing back up to speed. And this is just stuff for basically me when I log in. Okay, so other than that, let's go to the home page, and then we're going to speed right through this because I want to get into the article about goal setting and kind of help you guys learn about goals and learn about from my experience, what I have experienced in goals. Now, here's what you see when you come to ericbeatty.com. This is going to, right now I've got this pinned, this first post here, the first post. This is pinned, and you can see this was done in September 22nd of this year. This is what I decided. I was just going to write my first post, and I was just going to talk about why I did this blog, why I needed this blog, all these different things. And so this is going to be up here probably through the end of December. And once that's over with, I'll unpin the post, and you'll be able to see the most recent content first. Please do remember to share the knowledge, share the content whenever you get done reading, or that way other people can see that. And so you can just read the article by clicking on that or clicking on the title. Now, this very next article, the latest one, is the 5 proven tips I've learned for effective goal setting. The cool thing about this theme is that I can click on this and it will immediately start playing, so I can watch the video. And if I want to go in more in depth, I can come down here and click on read the article and go into the rest of it myself. So let's see if this should be working correctly. Let's just check it out one more time. So yes, good. Guys, I think this is going to work. So sorry to Randy Schardiger earlier. He was having all kinds of issues, and I hope he's going to be able to watch today and tune in. If not, then this will hopefully take for once. Now, let's see. These are my other articles I've got, and you can see what they're categorized as. You can see the date, and you can share, and also, once again, you can read the articles. Okay, so that's pretty much self-explanatory. Now, the other thing is, when you get here, if you don't want to just start reading and want to know what this blog is about, click on Start Here. This is basically my About page, okay? This blog is going to be basically, this is where you start, and I want you to notice, this is the main part of this blog, my interests. What I'm going to be writing about on this blog is writing, about books, the writing such as articles, fiction, how-to, different things like that interest me and that I find would help other people. Just like, my Bluegrass Guitar Essentials or Texas Blues Guitar, or even my YouTube videos, I do these things to help other people. Yes, I'm passionate about them and they interest me, but I do them so that other people can benefit from that. And I know that other people have, and I hope the blog is just as effective as my other outlets of doing that. So books such as book reviews, and all these are clickable links to articles that are examples of this, okay? So creating videos, basically that's what YouTube is for, but some of these articles will have video links if I decide to do a Hangout over it, or just a little video about it. So that's what the whole creating videos is about, vlogs and screencasts and things like that. Entrepreneur and business, I'm very heavily interested in time management, productivity. Focus is a big one for me. Goals, apps, different things to do with business life and entrepreneur life, management and all kinds of things. And lastly, if you'll notice, the very last thing here is guitar and music. The reason that's last is because my main outlet for this is, in fact, YouTube. Okay, my YouTube videos are mainly for my music and guitar, and also, like I said earlier, my products over here are for that. This is mainly going to be a site focused on mainly writing. Okay, like it says here, this site will mainly focus on the following. The main important one is number 4. Overall, my main intention on the blog is to focus on my writing, becoming a better at communicating with others through the stories, insights, and lessons I intend to share here. Okay, and then you have a short bio of hence the need for this website. So now you want to read it to figure out why I needed this website. Once again, this is a callback to number 4. This is just another way of saying it. This site's main purpose is to provide a home for the continual evolution of my creative expression, learning, and self-discovery, all the while providing the same for my audience. Okay, so I want to provide that same benefit to my audience. Okay, for more information about why I created EricBeatty.com, check out this article I wrote. Here's some goals. This is mainly dealing with how often I want to release articles. You know, the frequency, that's the word I'm looking for. The frequency of content releases and things like that. That's basically goals of when to release things. Content, useful content will be a main priority. So that's what I want to be my main priority. Now, this is not only for people who don't know anything about me or this blog, but it's also to remind me of why I've got this blog in the first place, to get me back in focus if I get off track. Okay, so I will be referring to this probably more so than anyone else, new visitors or not. Now, this navigating the site is mainly just what I told you about the sidebar, which is all this stuff up here I was telling you about. So it's kind of a callback to that. This colophon is an interesting thing. I got this from Michael Hyatt, and he talked about putting in, you know, for the tech people, for the tech geeks, wanting to know what I'm using as far as the technology stuff. So for hosting, I use Bluehost. And if you click on this, if you're interested in having a place for yourself online, you'll want to self-host your own site, because if you try to use a free one, you don't have those customization options that you would if you hosted your own site, such as with Bluehost. Now, that's what I've used for all my websites so far: Secrets of Texas BluesGuitar.com, BluegrassGuitarEssentials.com, and now EricBeatty.com. Okay, I use Bluehost. They're easy to use, they're easy to set up, they're reliable, and they're very dirt cheap. If you click this link, it will actually take you to a place where you can get a promotion for it. I think the regular price is like $6. Well, I think this, if you click it, it'll take you to Bluehost. It's a special link that takes you there to where you can get it for like $3.95, I think. So they also have superb 24/7 customer support. All right. Now, this is a Bluehost affiliate link, which means that if you click on this, it won't cost you extra. But what happens is, for me referring you to Bluehost, I get a commission for doing that. And here's the way I see that. Instead of you having to give me donations if you want to help out, or if you want to help support the work I do here on the blog, also goes towards everything I do, whether it be creating products, creating YouTube videos. You know, that takes a lot of time to do that, and a lot of effort. And if I want to create tabs, that takes money to spend on a virtual assistant who can do that, because I'm not very good at that. And I've used a virtual assistant to help me out on all the tabs on my Bluegrass Guitar Essentials course. So every little expense, instead of having you just have a random donation button, I thought about that at first, and I thought, well, no, I don't want to do that. What I want to do is set up something to where you can help me, but also receive help yourself. So throughout the site, there are certain affiliate links like leading to Amazon, like certain books and certain, you know, different courses and things like that that I find helpful. Whether I've used them, a lot of this stuff I have used and have read or whatever, or something that I may just want to use and recommend because I've done some research on it and found it very highly helpful. In this case, I have experience with Bluehost. They have been amazing. And if you sign up for hosting with them, I will get a generous commission from them. Now, every affiliate commission is different. Some of them pay only 6%. Amazon only pays like 6%, so it's not a lot. But every little bit helps for me to make these websites and these products and future products better and more user-friendly for everybody. So I appreciate you using any of the links that are affiliate links, whether it be through Amazon, Bluehost, or whatever, because it helps me. And also it reciprocates. You get to have, I refer you to something that will help you. And by helping you, it helps me. Okay. So that's the whole idea behind this. Now, the blog itself is built on WordPress, which this is WordPress.com, not WordPress.org. WordPress.org is the free version. You can't create your own domain name with that like you can with Bluehost. Like I couldn't have Eric Beatty. It would be like WordPress.ericbeatty.com or something like that. So, or ericbeatty.wordpress.com. It'd be some form of that. So that's WordPress.org that does that. WordPress.com, now unless I'm getting my wires crossed, is where you want to be. You want to have the WordPress.com because that will allow you to add plugins, it will allow you to add customization, and it will allow you to have your own domain name. And usually it costs money, but if you host through Bluehost, you get it free, okay? So that's amazing. That's probably one of the most popular platforms is WordPress. And the theme I currently use is a free theme called Simone. This is an amazing, beautiful theme. I really like the way it's set up. It's very, sleek. It's not a lot of, fancy stuff going on over here. It's very clean. The spacing of the font is very nice. I mean, I really like it. I've got my eye on a couple more themes, but this one I really like it. I had another theme at first, but then I was like, it doesn't suit me. Let's find another one. And this one is the one that suited me out of searching and searching and searching. And I finally found one. This one's called Simone. And so it's really cool if you want to check it out for your own site. I think he updates it pretty regularly too. So, and below that, if you notice at the very bottom, I wanted to get everything out of the way about why I created this blog before I got to this, because I don't want to be posting all kinds of product stuff everywhere. I want that to be found really easily so I can say, here it is. Now I can get on with my blog and what I'm really here for. So if you want to find any more information, if you're interested in guitar related or other products and services, or just want to know more about me, what I do online, check out those sites dedicated to serving you elsewhere. And that's bluegrassguitaressentials.com and secretsoftexasbluesguitar.com. And also there's a shout out to my link section where you can go and find me on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and all these other places. Now, to contact me, this is very important. If you want to contact me related to Bluegrass Guitar Essentials, there's a contact page for that. If you want to contact me for Secrets of Texas Blues Guitar, there's a contact page on that website for that. If you want to contact me for this blog, okay, you will do it in one of the following ways. I don't like being contacted through Twitter, through email, through Facebook, if it's going to relate to this blog, okay? So if you need to contact me relating to my products, content-related questions, or any other aspects of this site, okay, like future products I will host on this site and probably not have their own, like ebooks will not have their own website. They'll probably come straight to here. So that might be some products there that you can contact me for. But here's the two following ways I prefer. One, leave a comment below any post on this site relevant to any questions or comments you have on that particular post. In other words, if you are on the post about the article, if you're on the article or the post about the goals and you have a goal-related question, you would put it there. If you have a guitar-related question regarding the Ibanez guitar that I have, you would put that question there. And that's a way for us to interact with each other and engage with each other. The other way, if you have a general question, something's wrong with the website, or you can't, you got another question about the site or some of the content on the site that you can't find or whatever, leave me a message on my contact page. Here's a link to it, but the easiest way to find it is go to the top and click on contact, okay? That's the easiest way to find me and to contact me, anything related to this website, okay? So in the affiliate disclosure, basically he was talking about how some of these blog posts and pages may contain affiliate links and what that means, okay? And that's basically what I just went over. That's all, folks. Thanks for browsing my blog, blah, 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 blah. And that's the ending. And so this is a really good about page. And there's no comments on this page because this is my about page and I don't want comments on it. So this is a really good place to start, okay? Now, I've looked up and researched many other people's start pages like Pat Flynn, Michael Hyatt, and several other people, and they recommend this style. And I've kind of borrowed some of their ideas for this website, okay? So the other thing is, as time goes, and you'll read this on The Purpose of Eric Beatty. I think that's where it is. Actually, it's goals for the blog. When you get to there, you'll read this. I plan on creating resource pages, such as writing, books, guitar, and probably the other page will be resources, actually. So when you click on writing, this is going to be resources like different authors I recommend, not just their books, but all their content. Like Joanna Penn is an amazing resource for writing, okay? Those of you that are interested in writing, interested in learning more about content and, becoming a writer, you'll want to check this page out, okay? The main resource I have at the very top, who I've learned a lot from, is The Creative Pen from Joanna Penn. And this is a link straight to her website. She's got some of the best interviews with writers I've ever seen. And as I'm trying to learn more about my writing craft, I would highly recommend watching her videos and listening to her podcast. Her podcast is basically a rehash of the videos. Okay, it's basically recorded audio from the videos if you want to listen to it on the go. Now, what I've done is I've watched her videos, and then when another writer interests me, I'll go out and learn more about that writer and learn more about their ideas, which is where CJ Lyons came from. Learn more about her ideas through Joanna Penn. I learned more about Jeff Goins through Joanna Penn. And I learned more about Randy Manson through Joanna Penn. He's the guy that invented the snowflake method. Really, really good stuff, and I highly recommend that. So this is going to have writer blogs. It's going to have writing software and tools that I recommend, like Scrivener and the Learn Scrivener Fast program, and some resources I use, such as the Ecosystem Journal. This is my latest journal that I'm working on right now as far as business and life. And it'll tell you if it's an affiliate. So when you click on this, this helps support me in my work here. I'm going to have to, I can tell this is kind of getting scrunched together. I'm going to have to go back and kind of fix the layout of this. But anyway, here's a really cool thing called the Wheel of Process. I need to create a link in here too, but it's really cool. You click on it and it spins, and it gives you, ideas for first drafts and revisions and stuff like that. Writing Prompts and Motivation, NaNoWriMo, highly recommend that. Michael Hyatt that I mentioned earlier, he's a really good resource for a lot of this stuff that I'm interested in, one of which is 13 blog post ideas for novelists. So I thought that was a cool idea. There's even free writing wallpaper. Check that out. You can click on this and get all kinds of writing wallpaper. And once again, maybe you can leave some of your writing resources. Give us some ideas of what you find really helpful. And also don't forget to use the sharing buttons and bookmark this page for future reference. Okay, so that is my site, and it took about the same amount as it did on the last Hangout that didn't take. So this is all about my site. Now what I want to do is get right back into the main goals, okay, that we come here to talk about in the first place. All right, so I'm going to stop the screen sharing and say, welcome back. I am back, okay? Let's get on into the main beef of this. Before I do, I'm going to take a swig of water. And we're going to get on into this. Once again, I have 0 viewers. It is 9:30 almost at night. And a lot of people probably think I'm crying wolf because I've had to repost this so many times to get it to work. But for now, we're going to go back and see if anybody's talking to me on Twitter, which more than likely there's not, because there's any kind of interaction here, no viewers. So there might not be anything from Twitter. And this is the way I'm going to do future Hangouts. I like this idea of talking to me on Twitter. It's very short. It's very easy to respond to. There's not a lot of lengthy comments. I really like that as a chat program, a chat medium, instead of the Google Hangouts thing. So nobody's on Twitter. And let's go ahead and get on into the goals, okay? The goals that I referred to earlier on that article, which you can see if you're watching this live. You can see on the sidebar. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can check the Show More area below. There's a link to that article about halfway down. And if you're on the article, fine, stay there because you're watching it right now. What I'm going to do probably is when you get to the, maybe if I can remember to do this, when you get to the blog post, the article, the 5 proven tips and all that, I'm probably going to go ahead and have it automatically start right here into this. So I don't even know when I started. So I'm going to have to come back and figure out where to start it at later on. And that way you can get right on into the goals section without having to worry about all this beforehand stuff of checking out my blog and how the blog works and what all's on the blog. Okay, so that's what the previous 20 or 40 minutes is. I'm just going to put that at 38 minutes and have it start me automatically right there. But anyway, these goals that I referred to, you can go click on below and see those goals in action. And at the end of this, I'm going to give you 2 more resources, maybe even 3. First of all, here's my focus goals for 2014, what you saw earlier, the pictures of those, the little gallery there on that article. Then we have my SMART goals, what that's all about. And then lastly, this resource is available if you're watching this at the very bottom. It's a bonus section at the very bottom of the goals article. And that is called a simple strategic plan for your business. Okay. Now, let me just tell you something. If you're familiar with Dave Ramsey, he's got what's called the monthly budget, which is about 5 pages long in his program, Financial Peace. And he's also got what's called the basic quickie budget, which is only 1 page long. If you don't want to go through all that hassle of recording every single thing 5 pages long, you can stick with 1 page, the basic quickie budget, and have pretty much everything you need. It's kind of like a Cliff Notes of a bigger, longer work. Okay, that's what these 2 things are. I used these this year in coinciding along with this massive document, and I say massive because it's about 8 pages long. Okay, let's count these. I think let's see the cover page, not including the cover page, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 pages long. Okay, 6 pages. Got that wrong. Some awesome motivational quotes here for a business person as an entrepreneur. This is a massive opus, okay, of material. And I'll go over that later in what it's about, okay? But right now we're going to talk about these 2 things. Like I said, I use these in correspondence with that bigger document. But these are the main things I've been focusing on this year. Focus, what does that mean? It means follow one course until successful, okay? This was to get me programmed in my head to focus on one thing and get it done well before moving on to any other goals. My SMART goals stand for specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-bound, okay? Now, as far as that goes, here's a little overview of what that means. Specific means I want to target and be very specific about what I'm talking about. In other words, if let's say I want to lose weight. Well, I'm not going to say, well, I want to lose weight this year. That's too broad. I need to narrow that down, okay? So at first when you're setting goals, they're kind of wide, and you got to start narrowing those down, okay, through working through issues like setbacks and things don't work out exactly like you want them to or that you expected them to. Those are all stepping stones. Don't think of them as stumbling blocks. Think of them as stepping stones. And what I refer to over and over, one of the key words I referred to over and over in the past Hangout that didn't take was calibrating. Whenever you have a failure, whenever you have a setback, think of that as it's calibrating your goals to get you to the right steps to take to achieve those goals, okay? So we start out with broad goals. I want to lose weight this year, okay? Well, let's be more specific, okay? Well, I want to lose 20 pounds, okay? That's fine. When do you want to lose it? What's your deadline? Well, I want to lose 20 pounds by the end of 3 months. Actually, let's say I want to lose 20 pounds in a month. Okay, well, maybe that's not realistic. Maybe that's too hard of a goal. Maybe you're setting the bar too high. Okay, let's say 20 pounds in 3 months. Okay, now we're getting a little bit more focused. Okay, so that working on the SMART goals by nature causes the focus to happen. All right, so that's really cool. Okay, so the 20 pounds in 3 months, and so I'm getting more and more specific as I go along. Okay, so you see how that works. Now, It's been specific, measurable. When I say measurable, think of statistics, because measurable and time bound, it's kind of iffy there. Measurable is, think of statistics. Like for me, I wanted to reach at least so many people with my products and help them play guitar better than they ever have by the end of this year. Okay, so I wanted to measure that with some kind of, I want to quantify that somehow. And so that's more of a statistic. How can you measure your goal, whatever it may be? Well, I can go on, if it's losing weight, I can get on the scale every week. If I want to lose 20 pounds, let's go deeper. Here's where we're at. I want to lose 20 pounds in 3 months. Well, what's that going to take? Well, that's going to take me losing maybe a pound a week, or a pound every 2 weeks or something. I don't know. I can't think of the math right now. So we're going to specifically measure that and get the focus a little more narrow. And it's kind of like a magnifying glass. You put it in the you put it in the sun, and it focuses light. Light is broad; it's a wide spectrum. But when you put it in the sun and you kind of focus it the right way, it becomes a narrow laser, and it's able to burn through paper. Okay, so you want your focus to be laser focused. Okay, you get more things done that way. It's a more powerful force when you do that, such as the laser. Actionable. In the word SMART, the A means actionable. What actions am I going to take to get my goals achieved? What am I going to do? What are the steps I'm going to take to get those goals achieved? Well, if I'm losing 3 pounds every other week, what's that going to take? What's the actions I'm going to take? Well, here's our goal. It's going to be focused even more. I'm going to take and start counting calories, which is what I did. And with those calories, I'm going to take and start a food journal. And then I'm going to take and start exercising 3 days a week. So, and it can go infinitely smaller until you have a really good idea of how you're going to achieve your goals. And so then there's no excuse. And really, if you do this right, there's really no way to fail because you've mapped out a plan. Okay. So that's what the SMART goals are going to help you do. Are they realistic? And I talked about that earlier. Losing 100 pounds a year is probably not realistic. Okay. I started trying to lose weight in April, and I've only managed to lose 20 pounds. The first few pounds was pretty quick, and then after that, I started seeing plateaus and started seeing setbacks, and had to go back and start all over again. But I'm still determined to lose extra weight, more weight. So I'm, like I said, it's calibrating. Maybe I've tried a little too hard to lose too much weight at first. And that's telling me, okay, now here's the way we need to calibrate this, and we need to adjust based on what I've learned now. Okay, I hope that's not too vague, but that'll come hopefully later on as I continue to explain this stuff. Time bound. Now, like I said, measurable is more statistics. Time bound is more think in terms of deadlines. When do I want to have this done? Well, like we said earlier, we established it was going to be in 3 months. So I need to have this. I need to lose 20 pounds in 3 months. I've got to do that. That's my goal. That's my deadline. That's my time frame. Okay. So that's what the SMART goals are all about. Okay. Now the deadlines, as I'm going to talk about in Bluegrass Guitar Essentials, you're going to find that when you start out, if you don't have a clue about what to do and where to measure and what to go by, you're going to miss deadlines, and you're going to have to set new deadlines. Once again, that's all calibrating everything to work correctly, and it's all has a purpose. Don't get discouraged. Don't quit. Think of it as, okay, this was either not an unrealistic goal, but maybe an unrealistic deadline. Maybe the deadline was too soon. Maybe you need to broaden it out. For my Bluegrass Guitar Essentials, my deadline was in May. I think the first one was in May. Okay, so in several, about 5 months, I couldn't get it done the way I wanted to. So I set a new deadline. Let's go to July. Let's see what happens there. I missed that goal. Well, let's go to October. Let's see what I can do there, or September, whenever it was. Well, I missed that deadline, but I'm still getting things done. I don't think I'm not getting things done. I'm still getting progress, but there might be setbacks related to. I know there's a lot of setbacks related to my video editor. There was multiple corrections that needed to be made, and so I had to send the video back, and they'd have to re-render it and re-upload it, and the internet connection was very, very sluggish, so it would take hours, and I mean like 12 hours or more, to upload these things to the server, and that wasn't working. So all these setbacks are helping me realize what it takes to accomplish a big task, a big project, and so that's calibrating me for the future projects. Okay, now the next project I do, I need to allow more time for. I need to allow more flexibility in case I run into a snag with a virtual assistant or any other things. Okay, so all this stuff kind of wraps up into one big package, and you'll find yourself getting a lot better at achieving your goals. So there's going to be, I don't have this available right now, but basically all this is I put the word SMART up here, and I put the acronym, listed down here, and went ahead and put what my goals were for that time. Okay, so this was kind of corresponding to this. This was more guitar related. How can my main thing was I wanted to get better at guitar. Well, how can I do this? Okay, this is more of the big project that I wanted to work on. Okay, so this was kind of like a personal achievement goal, and this is more like a business goal. Okay, more like an entrepreneur type thing. Now, the focus goal is mainly, we'll get into this real quick, and then we'll start working on our way down the tips and how you can achieve your goals, okay? My first one was study and meditate on the word most of all, on the Bible. And my scripture reference was Joshua 1:8, where it says, this book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, study and meditate upon it day and night, then shall thou find thy way, then shall thou make thy way prosperous, then shalt thou find good success. Okay, that's Joshua 1:8 and maybe verse 9. So that was my incentive. If I'm going to have good success, I need to study the word because it's going to guide me. The Lord's going to guide me in what to do. So that was most of all. If all this stuff is going to fall in line, I've got to put God first. Okay, so that's my personal values, it's my personal beliefs, and I wanted to aim for that. The next thing was get healthy, and not just get healthy, but stay healthy. So what did I do? Well, I started counting calories. Back in April is when I started getting serious about losing weight. I started counting calories. I started finding myself that was pretty easy. I got myself a calorie counter guide and started recording all that information. I joined a fitness class, strength training and conditioning at a local recreation center. And I started, after that, I added another class to that. A class called Insanity, and believe me, it lives up to its name. Every sense of the word, it lives up to its name. That is an insane class. 30 minutes of calorie burning madness, and it will leave you panting, if not crawling. Okay, and but along the way, I found that I had tripped up, and I, kind of fell, not really off the wagon, but my feet were touching the ground while the wagon was still moving. Okay, so if that gives you a good analogy. So what did I have to do? I had to go back and start from what was working, and that was counting calories again. Because for a while I got complacent and thought, well, I've counted calories for 3-4 weeks, 2 months, whatever long it was, and I began to think, well, I can judge it. I can do the portion sizes, or I can kind of judge it a little better on that. Well, I found that I couldn't. Found that I was having issues with that, and I've seen my weight go back up. So I had to go back and start counting calories again. And now Thanksgiving has come and gone, and I'm like, well, I'm going to set back again. So I have to go back and try it again. And so now that's all. Once again, the key word probably today is going to be calibration. That's all, to calibrate everything so that I can, have my focus correct, and so they can tell me what steps I need to take next. I see that I have one viewer. I'm not sure who it is, but thank you for watching. If you'd like to interact, please go to Twitter. Find me on Twitter at twitter.com/TheEricBeatty. I'm watching for any notifications, any chatting or anything. That's where I'll do my chatting at. If you have any questions, if you're watching this live, there's also a little Q&A button that you can click if you have questions regarding anything I'm going over right now. Thanks to everybody that is watching. I'm glad I'm getting some viewers now. So let's continue working on this. So staying healthy, that was another goal. The main goal, the one I wanted to focus on mainly this year, was developing and completing my Bluegrass Guitar Essentials course. Now, I want you to notice this has a lot of little mini goals, a lot of little actions leading up to the main broad spectrum. And you have to kind of plan things out that way. You have to kind of work what's called working backwards. You say, well, my goal is this. Well, what's the steps I need to take to get to there? And once again, that focus becomes narrower and it becomes more intense and more powerful. So my main focus was right here, all that bluegrass guitar essential stuff. Now, after that, I had listed to delegate, to streamline, to automate, and to schedule time off, because I'm a workaholic. When I get my mind focused on something, I want to get it done, and I'm really excited to see it done, which is why I'm having this hangout again after it failed 2 other times. So, but you'll find out as you're going on that some goals are ongoing. Some goals will have a destination, like finishing a project, getting it done so that you can mark it complete. Some goals will be ongoing, like me, mastering time management. I'm finding that that's an ongoing thing because I'm always finding new tweaks and new ways to get that to work. Delegation, right now that's ongoing because there's always going to be something to hand off to somebody else that I'm not good at. There's always going to be ways that I can improve my business by handing it off to somebody who either likes to do it or who is more apt and more able at doing it. Streamlining, I want to make things easy, super easy, so that I don't have to go through this process all the time of trying to get things done the right way. So one of the ways I've done it and that I recommend is reading the book Getting Things Done by David Allen. This book is a lifesaver. If you want to get things done and you find yourself pulling your hair out, what's left of it, you've got to read this book because this will put you in order. This is old school stuff right here. We're so enamored with technology nowadays that it just has us, you know, our smartphones go off and ring. We have to check who's doing that. Facebook comes up. We have to check who's doing that. The phone's ringing. We got to check, see who this caller is. You don't have to do any of that stuff. We get so disorganized because it's something that technology is something that we're so used to now. And I was actually on the last hangout, I was talking about you needed to create a focus sheet and print it out because it is actually something that's different. You can take this with you. You don't have to worry about this crashing. You don't have to worry about if you got a Wi-Fi signal. Print this baby out and take it with you. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. Technology will fail you. This is good old-fashioned common sense stuff, okay? Taking action, taking a piece of paper, having something you can touch, holding your hands that doesn't lock up, that you can always access. You don't have to worry about, you know, your signal failing or a corrupted file or anything like that. This stands out. I said earlier in my last hangout that if I was to take and highlight all the words in this page, or if I took the book that I just talked about and highlighted all the words in those pages, nothing would stand out. Everything would be whatever color I highlighted with it. For example, yellow. Everything would be yellow. So nothing would stand out anymore. That's the way technology has become. Everything looks the same. We have all these apps. They all look the same on our screen. Notifications, everything is bombarding us. So this right here stands out. This right here, I stick it on my wall and I always have it readily available to look at. And I don't have to worry about, you know, it stands out to me. So streamline my life so that I can actually, you know, eliminate things that are contrary to what is, you know, kind of pulling against me. Just make things a lot easier. And there's another book that I have. I don't know how easy it is to get on Amazon or online. It's called Streamlining Your Life. Let me tell you something. This girl knows what she's talking about. Her name is Stephanie Culp. Check that book out. That's amazing. Really good book. Very thin, very super easy read. I got this at a yard sale, and one of the best dollars I've ever spent. I love this book. I'm probably going to start trying to read it every year. Love that book. The next thing was automate. Try to get, you know, filters in my inbox so that when a message comes in, it filters automatically. I don't have to sit there and look at every single message I get. I'm at inbox 0 most of the time because of that, because of the way I've decided to do email. And another thing, in getting things done, he discusses email in getting to 0. And so his processes are awesome. You get in a couple inboxes, get you a filing system, and you're good to go. I mean, it's amazing all that clutter that's in your head, and you can just put it in different spots. Well, see, we had forgotten how to do that. My grandpa was a big believer in, you know, filing things away, and he had all kinds of references and all kinds of materials that he had filed away. That was way before, computers as we know it today. That was back when the floppy disks were around, before Macs and before anything like that was around. They knew, them old school people knew how to do it. And we've just gotten so far away from that. So it just makes a big difference when you can when you know where everything's at and you can organize it so that you can find it at a later date. And David Allen talks all about that. Schedule time off, because that's important too. I mean, it's so easy to get burnt out. I find that when I'm getting frustrated, what helps me is to go get creative somehow. If I just take a day off, a lot of times you feel guilty. Well, I've just not done enough today, or I've not done enough this week. When you find yourself getting frustrated, I know for me, I have to go take a coffee break somewhere, get out of the house, get out of the work environment, and just go do something creative. Whether it be write a song, play my guitar, write in my journal, read a book, something that would get my creative self going again. And if I take 1 or 2 days off, that's even better, because then I'm ready to go again. I've got new ideas. I've got new aspirations, and I'm ready to go work at it again. So I find that taking time off is very important. It's not being lazy. It really benefits your business. The last few things was keeping goals handy for focus. In other words, keeping them where they can knock on my door, on my mind every day. Oh, I look over them. There's someplace where I can always view them so that I can keep them at the forefront, so that I don't get distracted on all this other stuff that I've got to do. What's my focus this year, Eric? It's right here. I set this up at the beginning of the year. This is what I want to work towards. Everything else that gets in the way is secondary, okay? You have to establish your boundaries if you're going to be successful at your goals. And that's just a free tip for you. I didn't even put that on my tips, but that's something you can work on. Another thing, simplify. One thing at a time. Multitasking is terrible for the mind. It's so much distraction. There's a lot of research done where whenever you focus on one thing and something else gets your attention, it can take you up to 15 minutes or even longer to get back into that zone when you come back to the previous thing. Okay, so turn off your email notifications, turn off your inbox notifications, turn off all the other notifications you have, and get focused. Get focused on what you want to achieve, because it's going to take that kind of discipline. This is sad. They even have apps and software programs now that kick you off the internet so that you can spend your time writing, so that you're not disturbed with all kinds of notifications and softwares and kind of instantly buzzing you from every direction. What it does is it disables your connection for like 20 minutes or whatever time you set, and you cannot get on there no matter what, because you've allotted for it to do. That's pretty sad when we've gotten to that kind of a society where we can't ignore something that isn't going to be so overwhelmingly urgent that it's going to be life or death matter. We've treated technology like that for the longest. And the last thing I put down here was start all over again. Don't quit. When you get to the end of this, don't get lazy, don't get complacent. And in a way, it's a relief to get a project like Bluegrass Guitar Essentials done and get it out of the way. But at the end, it's almost like a postpartum depression. When a woman has a baby, a lot of times what happens is she's depressed, because now that connection is lost. That connection is gone. That 9 months of you bearing that child is gone, and women get depressed, and it's not their fault. I mean, it's just a chemical imbalance, and a lot of it is just, because of that loss that you suffer. And when you get done birthing a new project, and you nurture it and you establish it, and it's all grown up and it's ready to be out and sent out into the world just like a child, there's a little bit of disconnection there. There's a little bit of postpartum depression in that same sense. But you don't need to let that stop you from moving forward. That is something that needs to encourage you. You need to take maybe a 2-week break, maybe even a month, take a little bit of hiatus, but get back in the saddle again. Find something new to be excited about. Find something, a new goal, a new aspiration, a new dream, and go after it. Chase it. And that's what this is. This last one, start over again. Do it again. Meet your next goal, whatever that may be. And this is inspired by the book Start by John Acuff. If you're watching this on YouTube, You can go to the Show More area, and you can click on the very bottom of the Show More area. There's an Amazon link. You can click on that, just like I was talking about earlier on those different affiliate links. That will take you to Amazon, and you can search for all these resources that I may not have included on the blog if you're reading this on the blog. Also, if you've already clicked on an affiliate link like the Bluehost link, not any affiliate link. If you've already clicked on the books at the bottom of the blog post, if you're watching this on the blog post, once again, that URL is ericbeatty.com/goals-2014, 2014. If you click on that, any one of those Amazon links where it shows you which books to buy, it will also take you to Amazon, and you can do a search for the book Start. I really recommend that book. It's a good book. I got it at the library and checked it out, and it really gets some good stuff on that. But now, let's talk about the very last thing we're going to talk about. Now, I notice I have 2 notifications here on Twitter, so let me find out what's going on here. Totally agree with your method on your weight loss plan. Making priorities is key. I found lots of support using hashtag MyFitnessPal. I've heard about that. That's a good one. Thanks so much, Nathan, for interacting there. He must have been one of those viewers. I really appreciate that, and I see that he's following me. I like this interacting with Twitter. It's off to the side. It's not integrated into Google Hangouts. Believe me, the less you fool with Google Hangouts when you're trying to have one, the better. So just do it for recording and let something else do the rest of the work. Okay, so Twitter is doing really good. Thanks so much, Nathan, for that. This is awesome. I like that. So hopefully that's helping you, Nathan, and maybe when you go back and watch this later, you can see the rest of what we're about to talk about. I know it's getting late. No telling where you're from, but thanks so much. I'll definitely follow you back. I've got a lot of people I've really got to catch up on Twitter anyway. Just started getting used to getting around to dealing with Twitter again. Now that I'm doing a lot more writing, I want that to help hone my skills in writing and everything. So what I want to get into mainly is the tips in setting goals for yourself. Okay, now that's an hour long, an hour and 5 minutes. All right, now we're going to get into the tips. All right. Okay, so I'm just trying to break that down. So the main thing is I want you to realize actually, let's go ahead and get on the tips now, and we'll get on into what I'm talking about as far as what you need to realize. All right, so what I'm going to go back down to here is to my actual blog post. Now, you can't see this, but if this video crashes on Hangouts, you'll be able to see it on the next video. And all I'm doing is just going back to that blog post and going over the tips one by one. And that way I can have a reference to look at. So bear with me while I get this up and running. I'm finding that a lot of this stuff is coming back to me that I recorded earlier. And I'm thankful for that, because I figure that content was lost forever. And so I'm glad to find that it's not. So once again, if you go to that article, you can look up the actual images of these and pull them up, and it will show it to you, and you can see all the updates that I've made from beginning to end. Okay, so let's talk about the tips here. Tip number 1: the first thing you need to do whenever you are, let me get my window back here. The first thing you need to do is decide which goals are most important to you and stay the course. Okay, that is very important. Decide which goals are important to you and stay the course. Now, I recommend you do goal setting right now for next year. It is December, and you really need to get started work on your goals for next year, because once you start in January, it's too late. A month will go by, and you'll feel like a failure because you've already let a month go by, and now it's too late. You don't want to do that. Get a month ahead. Get a month ahead. Get a month early. Okay, so before I go any further, whoever's watching, the viewer, if you have any questions, if you're watching this live, you can actually go to the side. Or the top of the video, the top right, there's a little Q&A thing if you have questions on what I'm saying. And if you want to interact, if you want to chat, I'm actually doing that via Twitter. So you can go to twitter.com/theericbeatty. and find me on Twitter and chat with me there, and it will show me any notification that's coming in, and I can be able to chat with you there. And so they got to shout that out to whoever's watching. So tip number 1, decide what's most important to you and stay the course. Now, I'm just going to use the focus one because that's the main one we're talking about. What was important to me at the beginning of the year? Well, obviously, everything I told you was important to me. Some of these things I found were ongoing, like the delegation and the streamlining and just, different things like that. But one of them was set in stone. There was a beginning and an end date, and that was completing my Bluegrass Guitar Essentials course. I had to write it down so that I would decide that this is what is important to me. Now, there's some other tips that's going to happen here in just a minute. It's going to kind of let you in on how some of these goals kind of shift around, and we'll get to that when we do. But I had to decide what was important to me. And for this next year, I'm going to have to decide, what do I want to focus on this next year? This whole entire year, for over a year, I've been working on Bluegrass Guitar Essentials, and it's important to me to get it done. These other goals are here so that I can remember to do those things, but I find that this one right here is the main one I need to keep at the forefront. And what would happen is there would be a lot of times where I would, especially the last few months here, there's a lot of times, maybe even up to 3 weeks to a month, where I would be waiting on other people, on my virtual assistants, to get things done. I would be waiting on my video editor to get that done, that whatever video he's working on, so that my tablature person could do the work that he needs to do. And my graphic designer was on hold until the tablature person got his stuff done. So on and on it went, and here I am in the middle. I've already created the video, so what else do I got to do? The only other thing I had left to do was basically make sure everything gets done and also create the neck diagrams for the course. So when I got my part done, I'm still waiting. So because of that, other things had room to creep in, and we're about to get to that in some of these other tips. So decide what is most important to you, and you need to make that decision because you know what you care about, and nobody's going to care about it as much as you do. Other people will definitely try to use your skills. They want to, you to help them out. They like the way you do things, but you find as you go along that you have to make time for yourself and for your goals. If you want to accomplish anything in life, you have to decide and put it in your mind what you're going to do, okay? And work toward it. Stay the course. Don't get sidetracked, okay? Don't let anything take you off of this. Now, what the important thing is, and this is going to be in the next tip, is that every 3 months, every quarter, just like any business, they do things quarterly, right? I went back and I would update from my original plan here. And those updates included where I am now, what I've learned. Is this still something that's reasonable? Is this still something that's realistic? Does it still measure up to the SMART, bar, SMART goals? Do I have any new approaches to this? What's working, what's not working? So all this stuff I would write down in the margins, and that's where you can see it's all loaded, especially the very last update. I didn't have any room, so I went over here on the back, and I thought, well, this is the last one I'm going to do, last update. I really need to make it count. So I had a lot of stuff going on here. So I would sit down, like in January was when I typed this out, okay? Or actually it was December, but in January was when it was implemented. So that's quarter number 1, okay? Quarter number 2 was in April. I decided to April to be my next quarter. So what I would do is I would take this, I would take my SMART goals, and I would go out and have a day off. I would take a day to do this, okay? Because I don't want any other distractions. So I would take a day off. I would go to a coffee shop and just drink me some coffee. And I'd sit there for a couple hours so that I wouldn't be rushed. I'd find me a time. I'd block me out of time. Once again, what's important to you? If you want to see your goals done, you've got to invest time in, managing them, continually updating them, continually babying them, helping them to grow, helping them to be nurtured. So I would go and I would sit down in a coffee shop and I would drink a cup of coffee, put some, tunes on, no podcasts or any talking or anything like that, because that would distract me. But I would put some tunes on and I would listen to some nice music or whatever, just to get me in the zone. And so I would sit down and I would work on my updates, whatever they may be. So I'd read my goals that I originally typed, and then I put down my updates. What am I going to be doing now? What if I find that's worked? What if I find that hasn't worked? For example, Get and stay healthy. Okay, let's just go with that one. The first update was in April 7th, first quarter. Get and stay healthy. Okay, so my first update said, here's your why. Why do you want to get healthy? Well, the better quality of life, more energy, better focus, higher self-esteem, catalyst to other goals. In other words, if I want to achieve other goals, I've got to be healthy and have the energy and have the motivation to do it, not be all lethargic and slothful and all this stuff. And I've got to get more energy so that I can have a better quality of life. More comfortable clothing, that's for sure. You get to fit in more comfortable clothing. Endorphins, rest, recuperation, better emotional health. So here's your why, okay? And one of the things I did, one of my actions is I started a strength and training class, okay? So that's the one I was talking about, strength training and conditioning. So that was update number one. Update number two happened in the second quarter or the third quarter. But it happened in July. I would go back and I would go into July and I would say, okay, what's changed in July? Well, and notice these are color coded, so I don't have to keep putting the date beside every update. I'll say the date is right here, and whatever's in that color relates to this date. Okay, so everything in that light blue relates to the second quarter, relates to July. So my update on get and stay healthy was I lost 20 pounds since the last time I started this. It was in April when I started it. So in 3 months, I lost 20 pounds. Like I say, it says here in 4 months because you're counting April along with it. So, and I'm still doing STACK courses, STACK classes weekly. STACK is strength training and conditioning. Still doing that weekly. So that was my update on just that. Okay. And last quarter, that's in October 24th of this year. I started Insanity in September. So I added on to that. I'm staying between 305 and 310, but losing between, between that 15, 20 mark, somewhere around in there. So that's my progress. Is I'm not losing anymore. I've got a plateau. So I have to go back and start counting calories. Have to go back and recalibrate and see what else it is that I need to do in order to get this goal achieved. Okay. So that's basically it. You're going to go and you're going to update this every quarter, and this is what I've done with all these goals. Okay, I wrote down what's worked, what hasn't, what action steps I've taken to reinforce these goals getting completed. And this takes a lot of time. This, you're investing your time in this, and so it should be something that you enjoy doing. It should be something that you're passionate about. It should be something that you want to achieve. I mean, this course, this bluegrass guitar course, is something I've been wanting for years. I started out with Texas blues guitar because that's what the producer wanted at first, and they weren't interested in bluegrass guitar. Well, that was fine. I still like Texas blues. I was still interested in that, and I did that. But really, my desire was to do a bluegrass course because that's what I started out on YouTube with, was all bluegrass stuff. And that's what it's mainly been since I started my YouTube channel. So I wanted to get this done. This is something I wanted to do for myself. It was important to me. Again, that tips, decide what's important to you and stay the course. Okay. So that's tip number one. Tip number two. Oh, by the way, before we go to tip number two, here's the little quote section. You don't have to wait until January 1st to begin setting goals and achieve them. Now, let me say that one more time. Listen carefully. You do not have to wait until January 1st to begin setting goals and achieving them. There's a song I wrote last year called Start the New Year Today. And it's basically talking about how we wait every year. We wait until December. And, but by then it's already too late. We'll go through January, make resolutions. And by April or February, we've fell off the wagon. And so we think, well, I'll just wait until next year and I'll get it right next time. Next year, I'll get it right. Don't wait until next year. Don't wait until January 1st. You have no promise of tomorrow. You don't know when you're going to step outside and get hit by a truck. You don't know if you'll lose your ability to do certain things. You don't know if you'll lose your motivation in doing it. You don't know if there's another dream that's going to crop up. You don't know any of that stuff. There's an old saying that the past is history. The future, tomorrow, is a mystery. Today is a gift, which is why we call it the present. Today is all we have. So take action today. Don't wait. Don't put it off. Don't, make excuses any longer. Don't wait until January 1st to make your new goals. Start now. You got to start somewhere, okay? If you fail along the way, that's fine. Get back up. Realize that is that's part of it, and that's going to help recalibrate. It's going to help you adjust and make things more realistic and reach your goal in the end ultimately a lot quicker and a lot more efficiently. Tip number 2. All right, so, and this is very important, have a system for tracking your goals. Now, my system was right here. My system was to every quarter go back and update this. Start out with a template, start out with what my desire is in paper, not on your cell phone. Do it in paper. Your cell phone is going to get lost in the hubbub of everything else. Just like I said, it's not going to stand out. This stands out. It's separate from everything else. Take a sheet of paper, write down your goals, write down your steps that you're going to take to achieve those goals, and every month or every quarter, go back and update them. The reason I'm saying a quarter is, number one, you don't want to do this every month because then you're going to be overwhelmed, okay? You're going to be overwhelmed at, oh, I'm just not making any progress, or this is just useless. It's kind of like you got to step back for a little while, because you can grow and develop a lot more in 3 months than you can in just one at a time. It's like when you step on a scale, they tell you don't weigh every day. Weigh about once a week, or otherwise you're going to drive yourself crazy because it fluctuates. Or when you invest in the stock market, do it long term. Don't check it every week. It's going to go up and down. But over a long-term period, it's going to gradually increase. Anything like that, you have to step back and take a bigger picture, a bigger look at it. And so you're going to take and do this every 3 months because it's a lot of room for growth. Okay, so go back, get your goals together, and every 3 months, every quarter, go back, find you something you love to be. Maybe it's in the park. Maybe it's among the nature sounds in the woods somewhere. Maybe it's hiking. You can go hiking, and you're going to take your goals with you, and you're going to sit down there and work on them for a couple hours. For me, it was a coffee shop. For me, sometimes it was a bookstore. That's where I like to be. That's where I could do my best thinking. And it was away from a lot of distractions and stuff. So the system you need will be up to you. This is what I decided to go with, okay? I sat down and created this and decided this is what I'm going to do. This and the SMART goals, okay? And also, it really helped to have that big old huge manual like I was talking about a while ago. It's like 6 pages long. This right here kind of coincides with this. But once again, like I said, this is kind of like the cliff notes for all this. If you want to get in depth and really dig deep in what your purpose is, then you will go into this, okay? I recommend that probably later. Don't start with this because you will get overwhelmed. I started with this and realized I didn't even complete it the first time. This year, I was finally able to complete it. And once again, I went back and updated this. You'll see all the different colors and everything on this too. I updated this similarly. And here's the back page of one of them where I wrote more notes. I now have this as a reference for future goals. But for one thing, I want you to notice, I didn't update these at the same time that I updated the smaller ones. I would have been there all day if I had to do that. This right here alone will take you a couple hours, okay? Maybe even more. I just say a lot 2 hours for this because you can relax and not be rushed or pressured. This was updated on 4.7, and for the first time, this was updated on 4.7. That's when I realized, hey, this takes way too long to do all these pages. So after that, I went back, and when this was updated, the focus goals and SMART goals were updated on July 21st. This big bulky thing was updated July the 10th. This was updated on October the 24th, the last quarter. This was updated during the last quarter 11, in November the 4th. Okay, and what I recommend doing is on the very last quarter, the fourth quarter, do it closer to the middle of that quarter or closer to the end. Now, you want to spend the end of the last quarter creating goals for next year, okay? You want to have this done by then. But you want to have this done on the tail end of that last quarter because, or, close to the midway point, because That allows you just a little bit longer, and plus this is going to be the last thing you're going to write. And you're not going to go back here at the end of December and say, okay, well, this is the end of that. No, you're going to be onto your new goals by then. This is why I spent so much time on the back pages, is because this was my last chance to talk about what my new strategies are. And what I'll do for my next goals this next year is sit down and study this now. This is my manual. This is my manual. This and this is my manual on what I'm going to do next year, what I've learned, what I can keep going towards, and what I can do next year. Now, I'm not going to have this up available. It's just too much to scan and everything. Maybe one day this can be a future ebook or something. I don't know. But these are there, and you can get a good idea of this on that article, ericbeatty.com/goals-2014. Okay, that was tip number 2. Have a system in place. You've got to track your goals. If you don't, you're not going to get anywhere. You got to see. It's got to be measurable. Once again, smart and it's specific. Here's my focus goals. Here's what my most important goals are. That was tip number 1. Tip number 2: have a system. Be measurable. Have a way to measure this stuff. Okay, have a system to track it. The little quote on that is, I decided early on that if I wanted to seriously achieve my goals for this year, I would need a way to track and thereby stay accountable to myself. I would need a way to track these goals and thereby stay accountable to myself. You can only be accountable to yourself if you're, like for me, these were posted on my wall so that I could always look at these. Be like, okay, everything in my life is getting chaotic. I need to go back to square one. What's my basics? What actions should I be doing to achieve my overall goals? And that's what I would do to get back on track. Okay, that's what you're going to do to get back on track. All right. Now, before we get into tip number 3, let me go ahead and take a swig. And I don't see any new notifications on Twitter, so we're going to keep going. All right, we are about an hour and a half into this. The whole course, the whole thing. This is enough to be a course. I could sell this as a product. This is the cool thing about creating your own videos and things like that, because you could totally have a product made out of that. Who knows? I may end up using it as a bonus for a product or something someday. Tip number 3. All right, now this is so important. I didn't realize this until a couple months ago. Okay. Tip number 3 is realize that some goals are not static. And by static, I mean that some goals are not static. Some goals are not, they don't stay put. Some goals can be shifted around, as I mentioned earlier. For example, here's my focus goals. All these pages here. Here's my focus goals, and this is what I need to stay focused on. But I found that as those little waiting periods I was talking about earlier, when I was waiting for my virtual assistants to get back to me the things that I needed to receive in order to continue my work on Bluegrass Guitar Essentials, there would be long periods of limbo where nothing was happening. And I'm just sitting here twiddling my thumbs going, what am I going to do now? I'm waiting on them guys. What can I do? And that little area, that little margin in between that area, something else slipped in. So there was another goal that wedged its way into there. And in fact, there was 2 goals. One of them was getting this blog up. Now, I hadn't even thought about doing that. I thought, well, I'm going to get this done first, and then I'll go gung-ho on this blog or whatever. But what did I tell you earlier? Don't wait, right? Don't wait until January 1st to get your goals going. This is something that I gauged to be important in the fact that it kept eating away at me, okay? It just would not leave me alone, and I knew it had to be dealt with. And there's a quote coming up here in just a minute about that, about demanding your attention. Keep that in mind. So it had to be dealt with. So as there was a little bit of time there, I decided, well, let's go ahead and work on this goal. Now, I said there were 2 goals. The second one was resurrecting a novel that I had abandoned back in 2009 after NaNoWriMo, which is National Novel Writing Month. That's the first couple letters of the words National Novel Writing Month, NaNoWriMo. And I'd written this novel, 30 days of intense all-out writing. The goal is 50,000 words. I reached that point. I won NaNoWriMo 2019. I was one of the many. But what happened was I had abandoned it, because after that, I'm not just going to cut the story off and say, okay, the story's done. I'm done at 50,000 words. You can't do that. The story has to tell itself. You have to, be flexible enough to let it. So I found that now I was at about 60,000 words, and I was running out of steam. I'd never taken on a project this huge before, as far as sitting down and writing and being that disciplined about stuff. So I was running out of steam. And so life happened, couple crises comes along, or all kinds of other things happen in life, and what happens? It gets pushed to the side. And it wasn't until this year, when I had a little bit of time off, that I started thinking about not only the blog, but writing, seriously writing. And I thought, can I do this? Can I go back and possibly resurrect this novel and complete it and get it done? Is it worth trying? Well, it's another thing that, like I said earlier, it was eating away at me like crazy, and I had to address it because it was demanding my attention. And so back in October, actually before October, back in around September, while I was creating the blog, I was also taking on the task of resurrecting that novel. And so I've been working on the novel since around October, and I'm already up to chapter 7 in editing what I've already written before. Now, since holidays have come up and I've been working on the blog and things and everything, those the writing has kind of been pushed to the back burner a little bit, but I still see myself working towards it, because now that I've told you, like I said, when you find you have setbacks, it allows you to recalibrate for realistic goals. Now that I have an idea of how long it's taken me to do Bluegrass Guitar Essentials, it's taken me over a year. Well, I'm going to allow all of next year, all of 2015, to complete the rest of this novel. Now, the cool thing is most of it is complete. All I have to do is go back and edit it, revise it, and then add on the last 3 or 4 chapters to complete, tie up the story. So all the hard work is done as far as like creating things from scratch. And so my goal is to allow all of next year. Now, obviously, it probably won't take all of next year, but just to give myself that extra flexibility and not feel like a failure, not feel like a big setback and abandon it again and get overwhelmed, I'm allowing myself that whole year to get this done. Okay, so this is the idea that some goals are not static. In other words, these goals were shifted around a little bit. There was room for other goals to creep in. And that happened towards the end of this year, when the majority of these goals were completed. Now, these other 2 goals are not going to take the place of this goal. And here's a cool, interesting little nugget. What's really interesting is that, back in 2012, I got laid off, and that's when I started my entrepreneur journey, teaching guitar, creating guitar products, doing more YouTube videos, things like that. Before that, I was so frustrated with my job around 2011. And I've got, a couple business journals that I talked about earlier that's going to be content fodder for this blog. I've got a couple business journals that I wrote that I completely filled up on my frustrations with this job, okay? And ideas that I had on getting out of the job, ideas that I had on completing, somehow creating my dream. So what I began to do is work on my project and my dream on the side. So my day job I did during the day, and then I would come home at night and begin working on my business, working on my Texas Blues Guitar website, working on more lessons, teaching students, things like that. And there's a lot of people that do this. A couple of people that come to mind is Mark Mason. He is a blogger, and he's an entrepreneur that does a lot of stuff during the late hours of the evening. And I forget, that's one of his main, signatures is he's like the late night blogger, or I forget what he goes by. But if you look at Mark Mason on the internet, you'll find him. Another guy who's really heavily recommends transitioning smoothly instead of just quitting your job without some kind of foundation is Delatoro McNeil II. He's an amazing speaker, pumped, motivated, and he has got an awesome book that I've reviewed on my website, or on my YouTube. I think I reviewed it. It's called Caught Between a Dream and a Job. Awesome book. It really inspired me. That, along with the 4-Hour Work Week, are the two main catalysts that inspired me to start my own business. Okay, and the 4-Hour Work Week is by Timothy Ferriss. So the nugget here is that back then I was using my day job in the day. I would complete that, and then at night I would work on my dream job, which is start my own business. Well, now the tables have turned. I don't have my day job. My day job is my entrepreneur stuff. Right now, my day job is Bluegrass Guitar Essentials. So I decided, if I'm going to do this, if I'm going to let these other two goals horn their way in and squeeze their way in and shift my other goals around, then I got to do this a certain way. And that is, priority is what's here. I can't just change things whenever something else comes on my mind, unless it's at the beginning of the year, which typically won't happen because I've already planned that out at the end of the previous year, December, which is what I'll be doing this month. What I can do is, when something becomes available, like the writing and the blog, is work on my day job, which is what's here, what I've put down and predetermined, Bluegrass Guitar Essentials, making sure that's done. And then at night, during the night hours, I would come in here and I'd work on my blog, or I'd be on the laptop in the living room working on my blog while the wife's watching a movie or something. And I would come in here and do some writing, do some re-editing, do some article writing, whatever. And so that now became my night dream job. So that's the nugget. That's the irony there, is that my entrepreneur that I wanted to leave my day job for so badly is now become my job. And I've got to treat it as my job and work on my quote unquote dream after hours. Okay. So that was what was really cool. And that was all to say that not all goals are static. Some goals are not stationary. Some goals can be shifted around, in the sense that in the course of a year, you're going to find you have interests in other things. And it's not to say that it needs to come in and be like a domino effect and crash all of your fun house here. You can work these things in, a little bit at a time. If I had like 5 other goals, I would not have been able to do it. So I've got a blog and I've got a novel I want to finish. Okay. And there's a link actually in that tip, on tip number 3 in that article, to an article that I'd written for NaNoWriMo about resurrecting this novel, about what it was like being an NaNoWriMo participant for a month, and then an update at the bottom of that telling you how I've decided to come back and try to resurrect this novel. Okay, so it's just amazing how that worked out. Now, something else I was going to say, I can't remember what it was, but maybe I'll figure it out here in a second. Let me take me another swig of water here. My mouth is getting real dry. Okay. I don't remember what it was. Anyway, we were talking about the NaNoWriMo thing. And anyway, tip number 3, realize that some goals are not static. Some goals need to be shifted around. You can do that. And here's the quote I was telling you about that was coming up. Some goals change. Some goals rearrange. And as happened to me, some goals appear out of nowhere and demand that you pay them attention. And that's what happened with my writing and my blog. Now, the blog is what has something to do with. I just said I was going to say something. Oh, I know what it was. The blog was a big task for me, an undertaking, because I was working on, when I started this, I did everything on my own. I did my Texas Blues Guitar website, secretsofTexasBluesGuitar.com, and that was a pain, trying to get all that stuff up and running, trying to get everything linked together and everything working seamlessly. Oh, it was an utter mess, okay? So when Bluegrass Guitar Essentials comes around, I decide I'm going to pick something simple, because it's very hard to work around this. It's very hard to create from scratch. So what I did was I took a lot of the things I learned from the Texas Blues Guitar website and applied them, like some of the same plugins, and applied them on my Bluegrass Guitar Essentials website. Now, I'd really like to go back to the Texas Blues Guitar website, secretsofTexasBluesGuitar.com, and eliminate a lot of those plugins, because it's not as smooth as I'd like it to be. The website still works, but there's a lot of stuff that I can really do away with, and I'd like to revamp the whole website, but maybe one day I'll be able to afford a virtual assistant to do that for me. So this blog, to me, was a big undertaking, and I'm sitting here going, I'm not going to do this and have it really stress me out like it has before, unless I can simplify this. Once again, the whole idea about simplifying things down here, simplify, is a must if I'm going to get this done. So I found a good theme, like I talked about earlier. The theme that I use is Simone. Before that, on my blog, I used another one called Writer. I think that's W-R-I-T-R, without the E, Writer. And I didn't like it. So I was like, well, let's try another theme. And then I found Simone, and it clicked. I was like, this is what I want for right now. This is more than enough, an amazing thing to start with. And it's totally free. And so it didn't take me no time to set up what I needed to and start writing, get started. And I'm sitting here going, wow, this is awesome. It demanded my attention, and I could never have done it if it hadn't been so simple to do. I hadn't had that experience beforehand, okay? So I'm glad I had that experience, but one of these days I will have somebody to do all this stuff for me, so I don't have to worry about it. All right, let's take a moment here and let the viewer that is watching know that if you would like to interact with me, you can do so on Twitter at twitter.com/TheEricBeatty. And my last name is Beaty. A lot of people have problems learning know how to spell that name. But if you want to chat, or any questions or whatever, well, questions I'll get to in a minute, but if you want to chat or if you have any feedback or insight or whatever, you can leave it there. Also, if you're watching this live, which you are obviously, you can go to the very top of your right-hand side of corner of your video and click on that Q&A if you have a question for me regarding any of this goal setting stuff or anything that I've talked about before or will talk about in this broadcast. And appreciate you watching, whoever you are. It's really late where I'm at. It's getting to be really late. It's 10:30 almost. And I really appreciate you sticking around. We're just at about the last leg of this. We've already went through 3 tips on the 5 proven tips that I've learned for effective goal setting in 2014. Okay, we're about to get to the rest of these. But I just want to take that time to let you know, whoever is watching, that you can interact with me using those methods. Once again, that's Twitter or using the questions Q&A thing on the YouTube video. And if you are watching this on the blog later, please be sure to leave a comment on the bottom about what you think about either the video or some of your suggestions on your tips on goal setting. What's worked for you, what hasn't, you know, some other people that are really big on goal setting and you would like to, you know, share. Anything related to the post, you know, leave a comment there. And if you're watching this on YouTube, leave me a comment on that. I really enjoy getting feedback from people. Okay, let's continue on. The first 3 tips, once again, for the new viewer, this is the article on ericbeatty.com/goals-4. 5 proven tips I've learned for effective goal setting in 2014, okay? And the first one was tip number 1, decide which goals are most important to you and stay the course. Stay with it. Stick with it. Tip number 2, have a system for tracking your goals, okay? And what my system was, you know, creating my goals in the first place and every quarter coming back and updating and revising these things. Kind of honing my direction on what was working, what wasn't, what action steps I was taking to make sure these goals were achieved. All these other things, you know, was my system. And it's very important. And a lot of the stuff, like I'm going to reemphasize this, I'm just going over this stuff off the top of my head. You'll need to really go back after this video and read the article that I've listed. And also, if you're watching this live, there should be a link to it right on your right-hand side. There's some links there for the show notes. One is to the blog, and one is to the article more specifically on the blog. And so you'll need to have a system for tracking your goals. And so you can see, you know, when you read the article, there's more stuff there that I talk about that I haven't talked about here. And you can see all these images here that I've got. I've actually uploaded them to that article so you can look at these and look at all the updates for yourself. And so now, and tip number 3 was realize that some goals are not static. Some goals are going to demand your time and attention that are going to crop up that are not on this list later on in the year when you find yourself waiting for other people to do things, or you find yourself ready to take on something new. And these goals are going to move around, but that's okay. Realize that some goals aren't static. Some goals rearrange, some goals change, and some goals appear out of nowhere and demand that you pay them attention. Okay. Tip number 4, realize that you can start all over. You can, emphasis on can. You can start over if you fail to meet your goals. Guys, I cannot stress the importance of this one because just like I said when doing, trying to lose weight, for me, I found myself, going past, I would fluctuate between, I was losing 15 to 20 pounds and I couldn't get past that, Just this past week, I gained more weight from Thanksgiving, but before that, I finally broke the record that I've been waiting to do, and that is getting under 300 pounds. I've not been under 300 pounds for many years, and I finally dropped down to 299. Well, now I'm back up to 304 or whatever, but I got there, and that for me, that was like, that's the motivation. I did it. I can go further, and so every little stepping stone, every little celebration is every little victory, that's the word I'm looking for. Every little victory can propel you forward to the next one. If you got there before, you can get there again, which I know that I can do it again. So that's propelling me forward. So, but like I said, after Thanksgiving, I come back, I've gained some of that weight back. So what do? Well, when I started losing weight, started my diet in April, I started counting calories. And there's a link on the article that I'm referring to of the calorie counter that I'm currently using, that I began using. Well, as I said earlier, I began to think, well, I've counted calories for a month, 2 months, whatever, however long it was, and I thought, well, I can do this on my own now. I don't need a calorie counter book. I can just judge the portion sizes or whatever. Well, turned out that didn't work because I kept gaining weight again. So I had to go back and start over from what did work. And once again, I've been talking about this whole time. Those setbacks, those stumbling stones are really stepping stones. Okay, those stumbling blocks are really stepping stones. And they are there to help you recalibrate. When you step on a scale, this is a great analogy because we're talking about weight loss. I had to do this recently. When you step on a scale, you have to calibrate it first. Okay, it doesn't know your weight. It's not been set up. It has to calibrate. And then periodically you have to go back and recalibrate it because maybe the battery dies, or maybe you have an issue with, you just haven't used it in a while. Okay, so let me just have a second here. My video's freezing up and I don't know why. This is weird. I hope it doesn't kick me off here. Just hold off a second. Up. And are we back? Are we back? Check 1, 2. Wave my arms around. Okay, looks like we're back. Don't know what happened there, guys, but we're back. So where was I at? Okay, recalibration. Every now and then you have to go back and recalibrate it, or you have to go back and readjust something in your own lifestyle, something that's not working. For me, one thing that you can do is you got to keep your body guessing. If you're exercising and all you do is walking, your body to that. So you got to guess it. You got to keep it guessing. You got to keep going back. Thanks, Robert Baker. Appreciate that, man. He said, hey, man, how's it going? Great show. I'm going to add my little plus sign to that. That's awesome. Thanks so much for that, Robert. I really appreciate it. He's a night owl like me. So anyway, you got to recalibrate. And when you have setbacks, that's a chance and opportunity for you to recalibrate. Now I see there's another viewer on here. If that's you, Robert, appreciate the little shout out there. Robert Baker's an awesome guitar player on YouTube. You got to go check him out. He's really good. But I'm getting off topic here. You go back and you reset, because each one of these, think of each stumbling block, think of each setback, each failure as feedback, as something that's there to tell you, okay, this is not working. It's time to change strategies, okay? It's kind of like when you, for lack of a better explanation, if you take and touch your finger to a hot stove, it's sending signals to your brain that that's not the way it's supposed to be feeling. You're not supposed to be in pain. That hurts. Quit doing it. And you take your finger off, okay? Or maybe that's boiling water, and immediately you have feedback in your brain saying, okay, that's too hot. Like here's a good example. You're going to feed your baby a bottle. What do? They take and they put it on the wrist. If it's too hot, it sends a signal to your brain and says that's too hot. You're going to burn your kid. Okay, so you let it cool off. You do another test. Still too hot. Okay, you haven't failed Okay, you haven't, completely messed up your whole world. It's feedback. You readjust, you recalibrate, and try again. Next time, okay, the next time I'm going to put it in the microwave for like 30 seconds less. And I test it, and bam, that's the perfect setting. It tells my mind, the feedback I get is, that's perfect. Keep doing that. It's working. Okay, whatever's not working, you change. Whatever is working, you keep doing, and you try to do it better. Okay, so each setback is really a stepping stone. Each failure is really feedback. Okay, if you want to remember it that way. So it's recalibrating things. Okay, now that was the tip. Is number 4 is you can start over if you fail to achieve your goals. It's perfectly okay. During the year, there's going to be plenty of enough setbacks for a year's worth of work. Trust me. What you do is you go back and you recalibrate. You go back to what started, what worked. I went back to counting calories, started working again. To keep my body guessing, I joined a different workout class, and I'm probably going to do that again whenever I start working out again. I had to take a break, and it explains that in our article. Due to deer hunting, I have to get up way early, and it just wears me out, so I don't have any energy for working out. But because of that, I need to allow for less calories, which I haven't been, but when the first year happens, I'm going to start back up on my workout program. I know what you're saying. Don't wait till January 1st, but in this case, I kind of have to because of I would be really unhealthy if I woke up really early and then went and immediately after hunting and did a big stack class. But anyway, so Robert, I really appreciate that shout out there, buddy. All right, so that's tip number 4. The quote from tip number 4 is, if I had never written down the goal of losing weight and tracked my results, I would have never achieved the goal of losing any weight whatsoever, much less 20 pounds. Okay, so it's important that you realize that I had to actually sit there and write these goals down. And if I hadn't have done that, I would have never lost the 20 pounds, okay? So yes, I might have had a setback. Yes, I might have failed in a sense, but I would have never gotten to where I am. I would have never lost 20 pounds if I hadn't started. If I hadn't went back and started all over, I would have never got to where I am. And that's what it's going to take. Through a whole year of experiencing this, I realized that's what it takes to move forward. Sometimes you go forward 1 step, back 2 steps, forward 3 steps, back 1 step. Sometimes it's fluctuating like that. Just don't give up. Keep going back and use that to catapult you to success through the recalibration process. The very last tip, and we will be done, we will call it a night, is to number 5. Look, before I get on to that, let's review what we went over. Okay, here's the recap. 5 proven tips I've learned for effective goal setting in 2014. Once again, the article is ericbeatty.com/goals and the little hyphen and the numbers 2014, 2014. Tip number 1, decide which goals are most important to you and stay the course. Okay. Tip number 2, have a system for tracking your goals. That's key. Tip number 3, realize that some goals are not static. Some goals shift around. Tip number 4, you can start over if you fail to meet your goals. Okay. And before we get into tip number 5, I feel like mentioning this before I forget. At the very bottom of the video, when you look in this the article, the second video at the very bottom, below that it says, here's a quote from a book called The Hunt, which it lists on the bottom of this blog post as a resource. It says, this was said of Richard Branson, know yourself, know what you're capable of doing, and then leverage everything you've got to go after goals with the fearless determination born of that knowledge. Leverage whatever you got to go after what you're capable of doing. And that's a really good quote. I want to share that, and that's found in that article. All right, so tip number 5, the very last tip, is to finish what you started. Guys, I'm telling you, it's very important. When I set out to do these goals at the first of the year, I had every intention of completing them to the fullest, okay? I was very determined, and this was me. This was my contract to myself. I don't know if I've mentioned this already or if that was in the last Hangout that failed. But it's on paper. This was my contract. I spent all this time, all these months, every quarter of the month, writing down updates, going and spending 2 or 3 hours at a time, sitting down with myself, making an appointment, making it important to me to sit down and write and update all this stuff, all these materials that I've been talking about, even this big, huge, bulky manual here. I mean, there's pages after pages after pages, front and back, all kinds of stuff that I sat down and spent time on. Why would I not try to achieve these goals after spending that much time? Why would I not? I mean, it wouldn't make any sense at all. I'd be wasting all my time. Why do that? So you have to finish what you started. My goal is, even though the goal of getting my blog up and running and the goal of getting my novel started again and doing some writing projects and things like that, even though those have kind of shoehorned their way in here, this is priority number one. I've got to make sure that I finish these goals. This is what's most important, okay? I got to finish what I started. Yes, there's been setbacks. Yes, it's taken a lot longer than I thought it would, but that is just proven to be a college degree, so to speak, in all the things I can do after this. Like I said earlier, now that I know how huge a scope this project was, I know that for my novel, I'm going to allow a whole entire year to getting that thing done, okay? So this is proven to be informational for me, all these setbacks and everything. So, and I see the Bluegrass Guitar Essentials course is on its way to being completed, hopefully within the next couple of weeks. And I'm not just saying that. The materials are done, okay? All that I'm waiting on is the last final ebooks to come to me. And then I'm ready to release them. They're done. After that, it's the DVDs. I'll be working on those to get those done, hopefully by the end of January. I would love to get that done by the end of January, ship those bad boys out, and say it's time to work on something else. That can take care of itself now, okay? That's my goal. That's what I started. That's what I need to complete. Before the secondary goes, before the writing happens, before I start putting all my energy and focus into the blog and the writing, this has to get done first. This is priority number one. I spent all this time working towards this goal. I've got to see that it gets done. Now, once again, as I said earlier, this is a goal that has a destination. It has an end date. It's going to be completed sometime. Some of these other goals, most of these other goals, are ongoing. Like the get healthy and stay healthy. Stay implies that it's ongoing. Yeah. One of these days I'll reach my goal weight if I try hard enough and keep recalibrating. But that staying part is a consistent thing. It's an ongoing thing. Time management. I'm learning so much more and more about time management that it's ongoing. I've not mastered it yet. So it's ongoing. So I don't feel like a failure if at the end of the year I haven't mastered delegation. I haven't mastered streamlining. I haven't mastered automating. You know, I could have done better, yes, but at the same time, I'm realizing that some of that stuff is ongoing. It's organic. It's fluid. It keeps moving. But I've got to finish what I started. I've got to do this first. And then the goals that I'm creating this month can work towards incorporating the goals that have kind of wedged their way in here. Because after this month, this is going to be done for the most part. The only thing that's left is the DVDs, and that's pretty much it. Okay. So, and there'll be other things that are based around the Bluegrass Guitar Essentials. I would like to do like a couple of workshops, maybe even webinars somehow. But the main thing, the main course is going to be done, the main product. So finish what you started. If you're going to invest this time in yourself, you invest money in courses, you invest money in books, to get better at what you do. You invest money in, better gear if you play guitar. Robert knows all about this. You invest money. He's invested all kinds of money in better camera equipment, better guitars, a better home studio. Why would he not? Okay, Robert, if you're listening, buddy, why would you not finish what you started? Okay, I'm about to get to preaching here, man. I'm feeling good. I'm starting to get a second wind. Why would you not? After all this time you've invested in this, why would you just quit? Why would you just give up? Stay the course. It goes back to tip number one. All right? I'm feeling like Del Toro McNeil. Every time he says, he gets excited, he's like, baby. It's like tip number one, baby. And but anyway, that's kind of the way he talks. But tip number one, all over again. It kind of comes full circle. Decide which goals are most important to you and stay the course. Finish what you started. Stick with it. Then the next time the goals come around, and you at the end of December, you can work on the new goals, okay? So the very last quote, and then I'm going to leave you with some resources here. The very last quote is, what I know now that I didn't know then is that in the beginning, at least, corrections are necessary on projects because your team is just starting to learn your style and personal tastes and how you like to do things. Now, that sentence is kind of lanky. I tried to correct that as best as I could, but that's what I had to come up with. What I know now that I didn't know then is that in the beginning, at least, when you're starting a new project, corrections are necessary on projects because your team is just starting to learn your style. In other words, you're going to have setbacks. You're going to have to correct things. You're going to have to, kind of recalibrate once again. That's necessary because they're just starting to get used to you. Just starting, you're teaching them, you're training them, your style, your personal style of what you want to get done. They're just starting to learn that in the personal taste and how you like to get things done, how you like to do things. And, regardless of, it doesn't matter if it's a virtual assistant or not. It doesn't matter if your team is virtual assistant. Your team could be your family. Your team could be some of your friends. You could have, my brother, he's a graphic designer. He designs, T-shirts and all kinds of design work he's done. So what was I trying to make? What's the point we're trying to make here? You have to have, let's see, your team. That's what it was. I could ask my brother to create logos for me. I could, if I can't afford a virtual assistant, I could probably have him help. And it could be like a barter system. It could be, well, I can't afford to pay you, but I can give you extra guitar lessons, or I can take you to work every day, or I can do something to pay you for your time and for your effort. We can work something out. You can find some people, like maybe your friends, maybe you have a good video editor, maybe you have somebody that can do a blog for you, that can launch a blog for you. If you're not technically savvy, or if you don't know how to do that, you can find somebody. Somebody can be in your inner circle. Somebody can be in your team, okay? And it's going to take you training them to understand how you work. Now, at the same time, you don't want to be them. This is how it's done. You can't change a thing. You want their input. You want to be able to trust them and show them that they have autonomy. They have independence. They have a work ethic, and let them be creative at what they do best. This is what I've done with my tablature person, my graphic designer. I want their input because they make me look better. They make me a better person, perceived as a better person business-wise. I think it was Jim Rohn who was always talking about, you always want to hire people that are smarter than you, because that's the smartest thing to do. You hire people to do things that you cannot do, and you become great by doing that, okay? So your team, and I would really advocate, don't just go around and mooch off somebody. Don't freeload off somebody. That's very rude. You wouldn't want somebody to do that to you. That's a waste of time. Be willing to put in some kind of investment, some kind of, whether it's monetary, whether it's time, whether it's babysitting somebody's kid, whatever it may be. Pay for what it's worth to you. You get what you pay for. That works with, your team as well. Pay for what it's worth to you, If you can't afford a virtual assistant, like on Odesk or Elance, go to Fiverr.com, Fiverr, 2 R's in the word Fiverr.com. You can find somebody to do just about anything for $5. Some of the contracts go up to $50, but when you pay $50 on Fiverr, you're getting a lot. I mean a lot, okay? You can have somebody design a logo for you for $5. You can have somebody create an intro video for your video channel on YouTube for $5. You can have somebody, create some sales copy like I did for one of my products. I wanted some nice, compelling sales copy, and I didn't want to have to spend the time doing it myself. What I did was I said, here's what the main points of the product is. Here's what I'd like to get across. What can you do? Bam. For $5, she sent me a copy, and we worked it out. And you can do all kinds of stuff on Fiverr. The point is to like the Bible said, the workman is worthy of his hire, of his labor, of his reward. Don't just, get free stuff everywhere. Pay for it. Invest in it. It will mean more to you. It will be more valuable to you. You will treat it more seriously if you have a stake in the investment, okay? Now, I'm going to pause for a minute. I think Robert's still watching. Robert says a strong work ethic is such an important factor to make it. You've got to be disciplined. You've got to work at it. With me, I'm telling you, I did not want to do this Hangout tonight. After 2 hours of sitting and telling you everything I'm telling you now and it failing on Google Hangouts completely, I did not want to have to come back and redo this. Robert, if you're watching, I know you've been doing Hangouts, have a backup plan. Okay, now I'm doing the Hangouts as well as screen recording everything I'm doing. That way, if Hangouts fails, I've got a backup plan. At the very least, use Audacity or some kind of audio recorder to record what you're doing. So at least you'll have the audio and you can release it as a podcast or something like that. I'm telling you, I had to go back and redo all this stuff. And I've been on here for now 2 hours and 5 minutes, basically doing everything I did before while it's fresh on my mind. That's where the work ethic comes in. I had to come in here and I had to do that because I wanted to do it. I wanted to tackle it. I didn't want to be defeated by it. Robert, you're totally correct in that. He says, I really want an intro for my videos. What would you recommend? Also, sorry, I don't know how to comment other than this. Okay, Robert, here's how to comment. I've mentioned this before, and I'll mention it again because it never tells me who the viewer is. I wish it would, but it always just says 1 viewer, 2 viewers, whatever. On Twitter, that's how I'm interacting with people. It's on Twitter. So if you go to twitter.com/TheEricBeatty, go on there and you can interact with me there. And that's what that's for, the chat, kind of like interaction. The question is if you have a question on the show or whatever, which you just did. I really want an intro for my videos. What would you recommend? Here's a couple things that I recommend. Once again, I just said Fiverr. Check those guys out. Look at the ratings. If you never use Fiverr, it's simple as pie. I mean, it's so easy. I remember you said you was going to work on a cap, you know, that logo with the guitar and, you know, the hair and all that. I don't know who you did to design that, or if you design it yourself or if you work with somebody. Go to them again. See if they can help you with it. Definitely Fiverr can help you with it. There's also a website. I don't know if it's a website or if it's just a program called Splasheo, Splasheo. Splasheo. They've got like 6 free intro videos that you can use as your intro video. And if you want to pay a little bit more, I don't know how much a little bit more is. I can't remember. If you want to pay more for that intro video, then you can get a premium package or whatever. And the other thing is 99 Designs. I'm not sure if they do video, but they do graphic design. So you can pay like $90. What it is you pay like so much money, but you post a job and there's all these people that bid on it, and they send you a design, and you don't pay any of them until you pick the design you want. Then you pay that person for it. So you get to see all these templates of people that's worked hard to please you. Then you get to pick which one you want to pay for. So that works with logo design and graphic design, but they may have a similar site for intro videos. And there's one other resource I'm going to go ahead and find here real quick and mention. Oh, I think it's, let me look it up real quick. I'm pretty sure I know what it's called. And this resource has tons of other things like sounds. If you need sounds like, you know, royalty-free sounds or sounds that you can pay for like $1 and up. Graphics, you know, themes, anything you can think of. This site is all linked with that. Let me type it in and make sure it's correct, and then I'll give you the link to that. Appreciate you so much, Robert, for sticking around. So it's, let's see, that ain't what I meant for. Find it another way here. Okay, it was a different URL. This is connected to so many cool resources. It's like a hub for all these things. If you want openers and stuff like that, intro videos, Robert, let me see if you're still on here, still watching. One viewer, yeah, you're still here. Go to Video Hive, H-I-V-E, videohive.net, okay? Check that website out. It says 115,530 royalty-free video files from $2. Who can't afford $2, folks? Check it out. Video Hive. And this is all connected to like 6 or 7 different things. And you can see there's like a bunch of different tabs. matter of fact, let me go ahead and screen share that, and then we'll get into the rest of the resources. Okay, let's go ahead and screen share this because this is really, really a really good thing. Okay, so screen share, Video Hive, right there. Can you see it? All right, good. Video Hive. This is connected to ThemeForest, which is a hugely popular place for website theme. We always hear about, you know, Woo themes and the what's that one called? Thesis theme. ThemeForest has got a ton of good themes on it that are really highly popular, and one of them I recommend is called UDesign. That one looks really awesome. I haven't tried it, but that's one I've always wanted to try. ThemeForest. If you need special code plugins and mobile, and this one's website templates, Video Hive, motion graphics, stock music and audio, graphics, vectors, and print, professional stock photography, 3D models and materials, Flash and Unity 3D, right here. And check this out. From $2, seriously, you can get something from $2, okay? And these are handpicked by the Envato, which is the name of this, Envato Market, okay? And I'm not sure exactly what that website is, but definitely bookmark this site, whichever one you're on, Video Hive or ThemeForest or whatever. Definitely worth checking out, guys. It's really, really good resource. If you're talking about a team, right here, templates and themes from $3. Who can, I mean, I know there's free themes out there, but when we think of paying for a theme, we don't think of $3. We think of like $50, okay? So, I mean, seriously, you can start just about anywhere and pick something out. Okay, I definitely recommend checking out a thing called UDesign. If I was to go for just any one of these, okay, let's just pick the first one that's handpicked. Here's what you're going to look for, and this is going to be for Video Hive or anything else. This item is by an elite author. Okay, 20 comments. Looking for the comments. See what the good, positive things are about it. See what the bad, negative things are about it. Okay, if I go to my UDesign and I look this up, the one I was telling you about that looks really awesome and I'd like to try, this one right here. If I go here, it's $58, but that is a steal for all that you get. You get constant updates, all this stuff right here. Check this out, an elite author, action design. I'm not sure what, these are probably badges for how good this guy is, okay? It's featured. In other words, it is a featured theme on ThemeForest. Almost 40,000 sales and almost 3,000 comments. Look at the rating, 4.5 stars. This guy is killing it with this theme. Okay, I looked this over, and this is one of the reasons why I'd like to have this theme on one of my sites one of these days. It's amazing. Okay, so definitely check it out. That was ThemeForest.net, VideoHive.net. Robert, I hope that answers your question. Let me check my Twitter for notification. I'm on Twitter now. Good deal. See you there, Robert, and I appreciate that. And I think this is the most interaction I've ever had on Hangout. I guess I need to start having more late night Hangouts. Once the deer season's over, I can afford to do that. So let me go back here to my Google Hangouts and stop my screen sharing and show you the resources that are available to you. Robert, okay, I think I got you. Yeah, I got you already there. So the last thing, I'm going to have to screen share again. I don't know why I quit doing that. The last thing I'm going to show you is, there's a couple things. This is one thing that kept me motivated. And I haven't really looked at this all year. I need to look at this, before I do my next goals. But I had a whole section of what my goal milestones were for 2013. At the end of November, the first part of December 2013, I sat down and wrote all this stuff out to give me motivation for moving forward again. Okay, and I got 3 pages along with dates, what I've worked on, that were to encourage me to pursue my goals further in the next year. Okay, so I hired my first CPA. I was working on Texas Blues guitar back then. I've got my newsletter anniversary, all kinds of books I've read, goals I've accomplished, books I'm reading right now, books I was reading in September, whatever. Milestones. Keep a list of what you've achieved. In my planner, I've got at the very beginning of each tab, I have listed what milestones I've done for that month, right over there in red, what milestones I've achieved for that month. So that at the end of the year, all I got to do is go back to each month, write down my milestones, and have something else to achieve me, you know, to boost me forward, okay? And planners is for another day. I've got another idea for planners that I'm recently ordering. It's supposed to be here pretty soon. I'll probably do another either Hangout or whatever on it. There might be quite a bit of Hangouts this month. I don't know, because I'm really geared toward goal setting and getting goals done. But the other thing is, as I mentioned before, well, I haven't mentioned this, but I'll go ahead and do it right now really quick. To help me achieve the goal of getting Bluegrass Guitar Essentials done, one of my focus goals right here, right there, I used a program called Trello. It's amazing. It's free. There's a video on YouTube that I have. If you'll just go to my YouTube site or YouTube channel and type in Trello, I think it says, you know, how I use Trello to get things done, something like that. There's a link in there to Trello that you can click on. And what happens is it's an affiliate link, but it kind of works a little different. I don't get a commission for it. I get what's called a month of free Trello Gold. Now, Trello is free. There's plenty of features just for the standard version. I mean, I don't even care about the gold stuff, but it's cool to have. But the Trello free version comes with certain icons and certain background colors and all that. But when you get gold, you have a whole bunch more icons, a whole bunch more sticky note looking things. You can even add custom backgrounds. There's really cool high definition backgrounds. There's all kinds of other things. And when you click on that affiliate link in that video, the how I use Trello to get things done, it gives me a free month of gold, but I think it also gives you a free month of gold. So you can try Trello Gold for free. Trello, they have specifically stated, and I forget what the name of that company is. Seems like it has the word forest in it. I can't remember. But they specifically stated that Trello is free forever. Okay. So I have no worries about this program going away. It's an awesome project management tool. It's kind of like, works kind of like a pinboard. You move things from one board to another, and you can see a steady flow of progress. And it looks kind of like this. Those all these different things here. But they've specifically said it's always going to be free. But if you want gold, I think you pay an extra $10 a month, maybe $14. I don't know. But I just started using it because other people have been using it from that link on that how I use Trello to get things done. So if you want to use Trello, if you want to try it out, definitely check that link out. And there's, on there you can actually watch the tutorial of how I use Trello to get things done. Robert, if you never tried Trello, you'll be addicted like anything, like you would not believe. It's amazing. But anyway, this right here was an action list of what I needed to do to get my Bluegrass Guitar Essentials done. Okay, and once again, I went back and updated this. So I took this with me and updated it with me whenever I was doing the other things. Okay, so that's how I kind of did my project. 2 free resources for you, and then we'll be done for the night. This is taking a little longer, but I'm glad I've sat down and done this. I'm on the back end of it. New things have come out as well as old things in this Hangout from the previous one, and hope you guys enjoy it. This last thing is the simple strategic plan for your business is what I call it. I'm going to go ahead and screen share with you, and then we'll be done. And the other free resource is the focus goals that I've created. I think I'll do a SMART one too, but it's really easy. Like I said, the first of this video, all you got to do is type in SMART and then the acronym down here: specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, time bound. And then type in what your SMART goals are, whatever they may be. For this, it was guitar related, and for the focus goals, it was more project related. Okay, this was a personal goal for SMART, and for focus, this was more of a business type stuff. All right, let me screen share with you, and then we'll be done. See a new notification for Robert. Got to head out. Thanks for all the info, dude. Great Hangout. Thank you, Robert. Appreciate it, and I hope you're still on it. It says 1 viewer. Take care. I've got to really catch up with some of your videos again. It's been a while. Me and Robert actually did an interview video on my channel. If you're interested in checking out some of his stuff, he was gracious enough to give me a couple hours of his time, and we did a couple of interview videos on my channel. You can check that out. You go to my YouTube channel, which is basically youtube.com, and then type Eric Beatty, and you can go to my channel. It's called the Guitarpreneur page, and just do a search for Robert Baker, and it should pull right up. So thanks, Robert. Please check him out if you haven't. He's got some amazing skills on the guitar and amazing gear reviews and a lot of good stuff happening. I can't wait to get back on there and read some more and get caught up on that. Best of luck to you in the next year, by the way, Robert. Hope this really helps you and in your achieving your goals as well. All right, let's do the screen share, and then we'll be done, okay? All right, so what I'm going to show to you now are those resources I was just showing you, okay? If you will go to, let me go back to my blog here, and then I'll screen share it with you. All right. If you will go to the goals section again, ericbeatty.com, here's the URL. If you go to this section again, in case you can't read that for some reason, www.ericbeatty.com/goals, and then a hyphen, and then the number 2104, goals 2014. If you'll scroll down here to the section on tip number 2, have a system for tracking your goals. Like I said, you've got all these pages. When you click on them, it will show you an enlarged version of the pages that I've been showing you throughout this video. And you can click on it and enlarge it and see all the little things about it. You know, scroll up and down or whatever you need to do, and it will do that for you. Scroll side to side if it's too big. And you can see all the updates I've actually done, okay? You can also right-click and save this as an image for future use. And some browsers will allow you to actually click and drag it to your desktop, and it will save it like that, okay? So, but this is the current one. I just started somewhere. You got to start somewhere. I just started somewhere, and this is what the result was. And as I've gone through the years, or this year of making updates, I realized it needs to be a little more streamlined. Once again, referring back to this streamline area. It needs to be a little more streamlined, so it's more organized and it's a lot easier to reference. So that's why I created this this new one right here. And right after this, I think I'm going to go ahead and include a SMART goals, so you can have that too. That's probably going to be next week before I get into that. For now, this is good to suffice. If you want a place to start your goals, you can start it using this. Click on this, and it will give you this link right here, and you can come down here and download it, save it. Okay, you can print it out for your future use. Also, come up here and add it to your favorites, bookmark it, so that you will not forget where it is. Matter of fact, bookmark that whole article we just went to, so that you can refer to it each year, and maybe every quarter you can come back to this video and back to this article and be like, okay, I'm going to get my focus back. So here's what we're going to talk about. This right here is your first 3 goals. We'll start with 3. Start with something small. You can use this for goal number 4 and number 5 if you really need to. But this says recent goal because, like I said, some goals happen at the end of the year when you find other interests, and so they're inserted and they kind of wedge their way in. So if you have those, you can put that here to begin work on, maybe while you're waiting for other people to do these goals or whatever. So the next thing is next actions. So here's you some spaces to put in. What are my action steps that I need to take? So if I'm doing goal number 3, let's say goal number 3 is losing weight. Well, I would put a G3, and I would say the next action I need to take is go see the doctor, see what my ideal weight should be. Goal number 3, the next action after that, I need to go ahead and start counting calories, or go ahead and start maybe eating my food off smaller plates so that I can eat smaller portions and it looks big and I'm satisfied more. A lot of portion size has to do with your eyes more than it does your stomach. That old saying, my eyes were bigger than my stomach, that proves true a lot of times. So any goal you have, another option for goal number 3, G3, start a workout regimen, okay? Get a personal trainer. Don't fill up all the next action with one goal. Leave a little space and a little room later on for the rest of the goals. And this is one of the hardest things to do, and that's to delegate, okay? That's the next thing you need to do. Make sure that you delegate. Let me make sure that I'm still screen sharing. Okay, good. I still am. I still have one viewer. If it's you, Robert, thanks for watching. You're probably addicted now. Let me go back here to where I'm at. Okay, so delegate. If you're going to be effective, you're going to have to get some other people to help you out. And this is where the whole team mindset comes in. You've got to learn to delegate some of this stuff. And I'm telling you, one of the guys that really is a really good inspiration and a really good resource is Michael Hyatt. MichaelHyatt.com. He's an amazing, leadership coach and productivity coach, and he's a really good resource. I use him religiously. He's really good. So take the time. Maybe some of these actions you're not very good at, and you want to find somebody from, like I said, themeforce.net or videohive.net. And you want to find somebody to help you get these things done for very, very low rates? Well, move some of those tasks to the delegate pile, okay? Don't do it all yourself. If you can pay somebody to do something you're doing for a lot cheaper, then it's a waste of a resource, your time and your energy and your money to do it yourself, okay? For example, if you can mow the lawn in an hour, but you can also earn working on your business $30 an hour and it only costs you $15 an hour to pay somebody to do that, just pay somebody to do that, okay? It's a lot better to you to use your time on things that you can do the best, things that you can focus on, okay? There's a good quote from Les Hewitt in the book Power of Focus called "Do What You Do Best and Let Go of the Rest." And that book is also on my blog. You can check out an article I wrote on that called "The One Book I Try to Read Every Year," okay? That you can check that out. So find things that you're not good at, some things you need to delegate you are good at. And it's just a waste of time and a waste of resources for you to do them, because you need to do what's the core elements that only you can do. That's the goal, is to do the things only you can do. I can play guitar and I can create my lessons, but anybody can write my tabs. Anybody can create the neck diagrams, not just me. For right now, it's just me because I can't afford to right now. But only I can be myself. Only I can put my spin and my style on the guitar. Robert knows all about this. Only I can do that. But anybody can edit my videos. Anybody can, create the descriptions in the bottom of the YouTube show more area. Anybody can transcribe my video and create an article out of it for my website and my blog. Do the things only you can do and only you love to do, that you don't want to let go of, okay? Delegate the rest. Now, let's move on. Quarterly updates. This is important. Make sure you do include the date. Take Q2, for example. Q1, by the way, is not mentioned because Q1 is when you initially write this stuff out. This is Q1, okay? You need to put your date up here somewhere. I didn't think to include a date, but you'll need to put a date of when you started this, okay? So somewhere you need to have today's date or whatever. Quarterly updates. Q2, when I sit down in a coffee shop, I'm going to write down that date, and I'm going to put down what action steps have I taken, what have I found to be effective, what have I found that hasn't worked, where am I at right now, where do I need to be, is this goal still relevant to me in my business? Anything you can think of as an update, put it here. And I've tried to allow enough space in between here to write on the top line, and if you have to, come here and write on the bottom line, and then it will still leave you room to do this. If all else fails, you can flip this page over and write on the back, okay? And here's the link to get to this page, okay? So I even provided a link there. You can bookmark this link to get back to this and all the other cool resources there, all right? So definitely need to include a date, today's date, in that somewhere. So I'm going to write this down. Still here, date, today's date. I've got to write that down. All right. So that's the first free resource. Now let's go back and do the final resource, and then we will be done. Looks like it'll be a 2.5 hour show. This right here, my friends, is long enough to be a webinar, long enough to be a course. I could sell this, make it unlisted and sell this, and I could probably sell this course for $300 because this, or maybe more, because this right here, information I'm giving you in 2.5 hours is amazing. Okay, and I'm so glad I got a backup of this again. All right, the last resource is at the very bottom. It's called Bonus, James Woosley's Simple Strategic Plan for Your Business. If you click either here or the image, it will take you to his actual page where he's hosting this on his website, WoosleyCoaching.com. I found this back in 2013, I think is when it was, 2012. I think it was 2012, and I'm telling you what, it's amazing. It's that big document I told you that was basically a manual I can go back and look at and create an ebook off of. In fact, I could take this video and then take this document, all these documents, and that would be my manual, and I could say that's my product. Now you take it from here, So I mean that's amazing. I've just created a product now. I can actually do that. I mean, so you better get it while it's free. Let's just say that, because I am doing my best to try to streamline things and create products easily next year. Now, for some reason, this thing's not loading. Let's go back here. Let's stop it and reload it and see if it works. Maybe just be an internet connection. I'm not sure. While we're waiting, I'm going to check my Hangouts again, Twitter notifications. No new notifications. All right, that's not working. Page is not available. Reload. Hopefully, it's not having internet issues, because if it is, then my Hangout video is having problems, which I don't want that to happen. So let me go back here. Try this again. Let's try this one. That's my focus. This does work, guys. I don't know why it's not working right now, but you can definitely, just like with the focus goals that I showed you earlier, there will be a image that pops up, and you can come down here and save it or print it out or do whatever you need to with it. Zoom in, zoom out. We're just going to give it a second here. It worked with me just on the last Hangout. I don't know why it's not working now. I think I've got a backup of it somewhere. Actually, I think I've got a backup of it on my Google Drive. Let's do that. Let me go to exit the screen share real quick and go to my Google Drive and pull it up that way, and that'll work. It is 11:15 in the evening here where I'm at. Okay, so it's going to be a little over 2.5 hours, but that's fine. Apparently Google Drive is having issues as well, so it may be an internet thing. Maybe Hangouts is taking up all my resources. I'm not sure, but if you click on that, it will pull up the whole document here. And so until that loads, I guess what I'll do is show you real quick what that looks like. Let's just wait for that to load. When it does, I'll sit in the background. Okay, this is 6 pages long. Okay, I'm going to take this off. This is the introductory page where you have all these cool motivational quotes. You put when you download this as a PDF, you can edit it and put your own business name in here, put your own date and all this stuff. Okay. This next page, we have what's called strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, or in short, SWOT. You list down what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what your opportunities are. Not what you wish they would be, but what they currently are. All right, now, as you can see, when I went back to update this, I got 2 pages full, all right? The next page is your mission statement. What do you want to get paid to do? Your corporate values. What does my business stand for? Okay, there's my updates. Next page, number 4, what's your vision statement? It's a little different than your mission statement. Number 5, what's your business objectives? What is the purpose of my business? Why does it exist? Now, the mission statement is what do you want to get paid to do? Your vision statement is what is my vision of what my business will be in 3 to 5 years' time? So you're projecting forward. Number 6, key strategies. What are the 10,000-foot level things I must do to achieve my objectives? And I think he's doing a shout out here to that book that I referred to earlier called Getting Things Done. Robert, if you haven't checked this book out, this is a must read, okay? It's amazing. Change your life, okay? Getting Things Done. The 10,000-foot level, he's talking about, he mentions that in that book about each level represents the importance of the goal. Like the runway goal is what's immediate. The 10,000 foot is what's next after that. The 20,000 foot, all the way up to 50,000, which is a broader aspect, 3 to 5 years or whatever, you know. So he's narrowing it down here. What's your key strategies? What must you do, and what should you do? Here's the must things. Here's what you should do. Okay. Next page. SWOT analysis. Now over here, you had you listed your strengths and weaknesses and threats and opportunities. And over here is where how do you use these strengths? What's your game plan? What's the analysis based on what you wrote earlier, how you're going to combat these things or how you're going to take advantage of these things, okay? And then the last page is 8 major immediate goals. What will I achieve over the next 90 days that will power my mission and objectives? And number 9, action steps. What will I do to achieve my goals? What's my action steps? What's the category and what's my deadline? Set myself a deadline. If I miss it, fine, set another deadline, okay? Calibrate this thing. That's all works together to achieve the common goal, okay? And you can find that, once again, on that article's goal there. And it should load. I don't know why it's not loading right now. Maybe because, like I said, Hangout's hogging all my resources. But it is on that page, okay? So definitely take a look at that. Definitely share this article, ericbeatty.com/goals-2014. At the bottom of that article, you'll see that bonus there, and you'll also see some featured resources, which are the books that were mentioned in this article that you can buy straight from Amazon using my affiliate link. And there's also a call to action that I would like you, if you found this content to be valuable, to share it with others so that they can benefit from it. And also be sure to add this page to your favorites or bookmarks for future reference, okay? A lot of people don't stress that. I actually thought of that myself. I was like, people, if they want to have this for future reference, don't just share it. Then it goes out into the world and it's never seen again. Bookmark this stuff. Make it available to you at all times, okay? Add it to your favorites. And then there's a place to interact at the bottom. It's a question. What goal-setting strategies have you used this year? Have they worked? Leave a comment below and tell us all about it. The share buttons happen after that, and then you got some related content, followed by, at the very bottom, you can leave a reply. You can post a comment, and you can also be notified of follow-up comments by email or be notified of new posts by email. There's a couple checkbox options there for that, okay? Thank you guys so much for watching today. I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate your attention. I really appreciate your support. Robert, I really appreciate you sticking around. You're probably already gone by now. I don't know who this one viewer is. It may be you again. Okay, let me see. I just seen something. Thanks, dude. I'll definitely check all that out. Okay, that was a reference to earlier about his needing somebody to do an intro video. I didn't even see that until now. That's been there for a little bit, I'd say. Robert, thanks so much for watching. Everybody else, thanks so much for watching. Cross every finger and toe, and let's hope this one takes. It should. And so I thank you guys for staying up with me, and for everybody else that watches this later, I really hope this has helped you. This is what I'm passionate about, achieving goals and what I've learned and sharing with you what I've learned. And that's what the blog is all about, trying to impart some wisdom that I've learned so that you guys can learn from my mistakes and get better at what your life's purpose is, okay? Thanks so much for watching. If I don't see you again in the next few weeks, have a Merry Christmas. And if you follow these steps, if you get these focus goals and download all this stuff and get interactive with yourself, if you have to, form a mastermind group to where you can, encourage each other. If you do all this stuff, you'll not only have a Merry Christmas, but you'll have a happy, happy New Year, all right? Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you down the road, whatever the next video is. Take care. And may God bless you in achieving all your dreams and goals in your life. Thanks so much.